Yeah, so I want to welcome Marc and Phyllis Brinkerhoff to the Age of Pandora. So, yeah, so it's just such a privilege to have you guys on. There you are. We've talked before on one of Alan Steinfeld and Phil Gruber's shows, along with Sheila Seppi. And so I'll just give a brief bio for you guys. But before that, I just want to say that the Age of Pandora has been going for about a year. And it's basically about creating and supporting a vision for the new Earth. What does it mean? You know, we are part of an intergalactic species, and we're here for a specific purpose, and we haven't fulfilled that yet. And we're going through an age of transition, which could be pretty drastic or even catastrophic in some ways. And it's up to us to wake up in time to move into what we are capable of as a species. The alternative to that is to start over again, and that's not acceptable for any of us. So I'd like to introduce Marc and Phyllis briefly. So Marc is an ET contactee, a lucid remote viewer. He's a 12th dimensional walk-in, and Marc and Phyllis have been together for about 40 years, and he's often known as, well, he's been friends with the remote viewer Inga Swan, and who's passed on now, but they've remained friends on other levels. And so one thing about Marc is that he's been able to use his mediumistic ability to paint many of the beings that he's been interacting with. So that's non-physical beings who are ETs, as well as part of the elemental kingdoms. He's currently working on a book on fairies and angels, and also on omniversal symbols. Phyllis also has been witnessing countless encounters with UFOs. They've both had incredible out-of-body experiences, waking visions, confirming these realities. And so they're both on a mission to awaken sleeping souls to our magnificent multi-universal selves. So it's a real pleasure. And anything else you want to say, either of you, to complete the introduction? And then let's start with wherever we want to go today.
I thank you, Kiara. It was great.
Thank you very much.
I would say my main mission here, if I have a mission at all, everybody thinks they have a mission,
but they do.
And they all do. So,
right.
But I'm really here trying to express the reality of the multidimensionality of all creation that works with all, we work within as souls, as spiritual souls.
Mm-hmm.
I lucidly remote view my own oversoul's reality, like living in two places or three places at once sometimes. It's like here and here at the same time. I see what they're doing right now. Actually, they're listening in on us right now, just being in a conference area that's kind of like a lounge area. But I walked in to rescue my wife, Phyllis, who's my soulmate on the higher realms. We met I had a vision for her in 1976.
But wait a minute.
And then we met in 78.
I need to say explain something about soulmates, because a lot of people think that a twin soul is closer to a person than a soulmate. And Marc is very clear that that's actually not the case, because you can have a lot of twin souls, which will end up being your soul family, but not your mate.
And you can have twin souls visiting the planet at the same time you are. And so they become girlfriend or boyfriend, or if people are gay, it'll be boyfriend and boyfriend, girlfriend, girlfriend. Or they might come in as family members, sisters or brothers, but they will feel very close, always the same. And that's what happens sometimes with twins. They come in, if they're twins, they might be very good friends and close. So that would be a twin soul, even though they're female or male or male or male or female.
Okay, now hold on.
Right.
Because Mark gets,
There's others too.
Mark goes so fast,
Sorry.
you know, because
It's okay. It's okay.
I'm just a normal human. So, and it's sometimes very difficult to comprehend the concept of twin souls in regards to your evolutionary purpose, because what we're doing in any lifetime is you're bringing together with you people that are energetically very, very similar. And so that's really what holds you together here and then in the next lifetimes over or in the next realities over. In our particular case, we're on oversoul levels with a group that we have been, you know, with, not even incarnating, but just with for, I don't know, millions and millions of years. So
another galaxy.
We actually called that group the Acigalian Group because we came from a galaxy that disappeared a long time ago.
In the galaxy.
So how many of those souls are incarnate on this planet now?
Me.
No, actually.
Okay.
Yeah, and me.
But that's my friends, but we've had experiences together in the other galaxies. We came
Right.
from. But we consider ourselves all family in the sense of friends and family.
Well, wait a minute. You know what? Okay, let's step back a little bit on that, because maybe our own immediate soul group is coming from that high oversoul frequency, but we have also met others from the same oversoul level.
Yes.
Who are not exactly the same exact family soul group, but we are close friends with those people on that high realm. Now I know it gets complicated, because especially if people don't even understand that they exist in multiple realities simultaneously. Now, you know, we might have already lost them, but so you could easily be in the oversoul level with us, Kiara.
That's right. Yes.
You know, no question about
the
it.
Oversouls are together. When we all meet up here, we all know each other.
Right.
So
yeah, it's an instant recognition, and it's a destiny, a sense of destiny about what we're here to accomplish.
Exactly, because we're up there doing different things.
Even what we're just saying right now, what we're trying to do is release the people, the souls that are here now from limited thinking.
Right.
We want to unleash their thinking.
Yeah, we want to help them unleash.
Well, this is such a big theme for now, because, you know, I see us in the midst of two possible timelines. And one is death, destruction, cataclysm, human civilization. And the other is what we create together. And it hasn't been created yet. So we have choices and we can envision it. So how do you see us in this time now? So you're talking about being here to awaken the sleeper souls.
Well, on the space levels where we come from, the high realms up there, this is not just space only, it's other places, but there's so many multiple dimensional spaces. The planes, we call them the planes or levels, but in each plane are multiple levels. So we think of them here as frequencies and all that. There's the same words are meaning similar things for us. So when I say we're on first plane 1, this physical density we're in now is called first plane. Then the second plane is where people leave when they leave their body if they've been evil, really evil, murder and everything. Then they go to the second plane, and that's where they meet up with all the things they did wrong, and negative beings are still there playing in that frequency. But if you've been a good person, good, gentle soul,
wait a minute, I want to go back on that.
You will jump past that and go to the
but you may not, because you may need to, even on the second plane, because everything I say, Mark has taught me. Okay, so I'm just, but I'm always speaking from the human point of view, not the extraterrestrial.
Soul train.
But even in here, on the higher level of the second level would be like hospitals.
Yes.
As you're working,
as it gets next towards the third.
As you're working out the energies that are in your spirit bodies.
Like on each level, we have a heavy, dense sort of frequencies there. As you are Etherean here on these levels here, this is first plane, but in here is the etheric levels that are right here with us, right here. And people are walking by us right now, walking through us.
Yeah, they interpenetrate, right. So you're talking basically about the lower astral planes, the mid-astral, upper astral planes that we pass through.
Yeah, and then soul traveler, out of body soul traveler, you're going to go further and past. But you get higher only when you are cleansed, mostly cleansed at your body, and no negative addictions of sorts like drug addictions and things, because then they can't go past. They can't go past the certain frequencies beyond the planes in here. They get stuck because they have drug addictions, alcohol, whatever kind of addictions. So they might think they're in a heaven realm, but they're not. They're in this other realm that looks gentle, but it's, you know, there's still beings that can manipulate people there in those places. And so we're trying to come up with these ideas so people can understand what we're talking about. Because I used to just say it. It was so hard to get a grip on what I was saying. This second plane is where people, when you pass on, they will move through and jump to this third level here if they're gentle, kind beings and good. If they've been evil, murderers, they will stop at this level right here, and they will be shown all the things they did and experience what they did to those people or animals. If you tortured an animal that was innocent for any reason, not you guys, I mean just people, let's say people. If anybody tortured an animal, not for sacrifice in some way for food, the animals come in for, they understand that. These animals have souls. So that but if you're torturing an animal, worse, it doesn't matter, just torturing an animal for no reason, that is considered the same as torturing and hurting a child on the other side. When you get to the other side, and you confront it with everything we've done. And that shows that, and their soul feels remorse, should feel remorse, but they have to repent with that energy. They really do. It's a whole total different teaching, but to get past certain levels of the 7 planes, this is what's around our planet systems, the 7 planes around each planet. Everybody's heard of the 7 planes. What's beyond those are these planes, which go higher. I come from this level here and over here, above. I come from the 33rd, 22nd, and we keep coming down. So the 12th level is where we manifest these bodies like something like this. The glorified body. You can be any color, any skin tone, any eye color, any hair color, doesn't matter. Male or female, you can be however you feel towards you will be that. But most of us are androgynous beings and we blend and come through. But when you get into these high levels, we come from a universal, omniversal levels on the 12th and higher. That's omniversal level. Here is like celestial levels, universal level, and then we have cosmic levels, and then we have celestial levels and things like that. Now, a person on Earth reincarnating back, they keep coming back. They don't get past certain planes. A person reincarnates back on these 2 levels here, 4th, 3rd, and 5th. The last resort is 5th. After this, you don't reincarnate back. You can be free and leave and go higher. But if souls don't know that because they've been forgetting, haven't remembered, when you get to the other side, they want to come back to visit their family and children and friends and great-grandchildren.
Okay.
They come back again.
I just want to say one thing about what Mark just said. If souls don't know that, if you learn that in this lifetime, like if you're watching this show today or any of the other shows that Kiara is doing, and he's talking about, you know, knowledge, like we're talking about knowledge, and you learn that in this particular incarnation, and you do repent, and you do, love, and you forgive all of the transgressors that came against you in this lifetime. If you do all of that, you don't have to come back again to relearn that. You're not going to forget that when you get to the other side and you get your review. What you learn in this particular density, you own.
And you bring with you.
So you want to own it in this reality. You want to get that now, today. You want to just remember and realize, forget about that, ex-husband that, tortured you or that ex-wife that tortured, forget it. If you are resenting anybody that hurt you, an evil father, an evil mother, whatever, there's a million different emotional reasons why people will not let go. And if you can just let that all go and understand that if you do not forgive all of the transgressors that, by the way, you organized before you came in here.
Every soul does that.
Every challenge you went through, we would say, I don't know, 95% of those challenges were already, you knew that you were going to have those challenges. So the bottom line is for you at this point, before you transition over, not to forgive all of the challenges and the people that challenged you,
Everybody.
just means that you didn't learn your lesson because you set it up.
Anything holding resentment, anger, hate is a big one, unforgiveness, intolerance, things like that. That the soul.
Okay, I just want to say one more thing. Because remember, I'm the soul. I'm the soul human that got stuck for 50 lifetimes. Mark didn't ever get stuck.
This is my first time here.
Okay.
I'm here to help, and that's it. Get her.
Oh God, no! I've just lost my train of thought.
Okay.
It'll come back though.
Okay, so let me summarize.
This is a very important point, and I know we're jumping around on, but we're all talking about ascension, right? You don't ascend completely until you actually execute true forgiveness to your transgressors. So, we could talk about ascension all day long and say, oh, well, I learned how to meditate. I learned how to do this, that, or the other thing. Guess what? Did you understand that you made the decision to challenge yourself with these people who hurt you?
Or people that are taking their place in this time for that challenge to come
exactly, or a situation.
Teaching.
This is a huge piece of the pie. I'm telling you.
In space, it's called soul evolution.
It's one of the hardest things for people that are stuck into reincarnating constantly to get over. And it's just, really just total forgiveness.
And the other thing.
Okay, now I remembered what it was. The problem is in this entire world and in this entire culture, they are teaching victimhood as an acceptable modum of activity. And as soon as you agree to being a victim, what did you just do? You just turned yourself into a being that's going to resent somebody else for something. And you just blew the most important aspect of ascension. Do you agree with that, Kiara?
Oh, absolutely. I think that's, victimhood is a perpetrating cycle. Then you have to have a perpetrator in order to remain a victim. And then, the next thing you've become a perpetrator, because those two are, always linked together.
Yes.
So you cannot break out of that cycle unless forgiveness for me is about recognizing that there's nothing to forgive.
Exactly.
Because it's something we've chosen. It's something we've come in to experience. And there's no good and bad and right and wrong about it. It's simply a journey that we're all on. And
but you're exactly right about that. But the one thing that people, it's an emotional issue for people that cannot forgive because they feel they've been harmed or they feel they've been wronged or whatever. And so therein lies the trap that we're talking about, that you're referring to. And it's a huge thing. And you are completely freed when you realize this thing that you've just said. When people really get that at a soul level, now you can start the true process of ascension.
Yeah.
So right now, what I see on this earth is a whole lot of victimhood, a whole lot of fear, a whole lot of lack of forgiveness. And especially in the last couple of years with the COVID and vaccine issues, that there's so much control. And this control agenda has been dumbing down people, placing people under a lid. And the soul hasn't been able to incarnate. And if the soul isn't incarnate, then how can we even talk about ascension? We haven't even learned to become human yet.
Well, I think that we're raising a really powerful point right now, because everybody wants to talk about ascension, but nobody wants to really do do what exactly the point that we're talking about right now. Mark is in a little bit of a different situation since, he has no fear. He came in here knowing, where he was going home to. There was never one day that Mark ever lived where he didn't know where he came from and where he was going. And there was never a thought in his head ever for 1 second that if he died right now, he would just be boom, right back up on that arcana.
I know where I'm going, and I'm trying to help.
And we want everybody to feel that way.
Try to help people understand, if you keep coming back to this level, you get out of your body, you get to the other side. What I'm always rescuing and helping souls on the other side who passed on or who are stuck. And most of the time they're stuck because they forgot why what they did, or they're confused about what they're looking at because they didn't have a belief system too well. So they're in that waiting zone, which we would call above the, we're going to go again. there's a waiting zone people like to call purgatory or bardo or whatever. And that's located on this level, right in between here to the third. That's the waiting zone. And it's still nice, but there's still playful entities, but they're mostly nice because there's hospital zones there where people have had shocks from murder or killed in a car wreck. They'll be rescued by paramedic angels that are just disguised as nurses and everything. And they'll take them to that level, that space where it's peace and calm. There's no evil there, nothing there. It's all way down on the lower densities. That's what I'm trying to show in the shadows. We try to show what that meant with shadows. Heavier, light going higher on each plane. But it doesn't mean evil on those other high planes now. They only have testing ground on the second level. Third plane is the first heaven. There's no evil there. So when people say, I went to heaven, or I had an experience with my archangel friends, and I went to heaven, yet beings are throwing darts and arrows at you or trying to harass you, that's not heaven. That's the second level on a higher frequency of that plane where it's waiting zone, as we call it. And it's in these levels where you can still meet people and teachers and archangels and plane angels, regular angels as well. But if they don't understand that these levels were created for these beings to be cast down to when they went bad, when they went rogue, let's say, and the creator gave them a timeout, right? So they're in a timeout zone. They're not going to be disintegrated into ash or nothing, but they're given time out to come back home to repent. But they have to do that themselves. They have to.
So how long does it typically take for people? So if they're, if someone has been very selfish on this level, in this incarnation, how long would it take for them to get past the second level into the third?
Well, really, they're not in a stuck zone when they're just being selfish or bad or mean to people. It's when they murder and hurt and do terrible things that they really get stuck in that lower realm, and then they have to come through and start asking for forgiveness, start realizing that they caused these things to others, and start repenting in their heart to Creator at that time. Going, oh my gosh, because now they're feeling from that soul's perspective, or animal, using an animal. The animal, you will see through the eyes of that animal looking at that person who is hurting them themselves, seeing themselves doing the work to that, shooting them, whatever they're doing. So they will see it from their perspective, the other being's perspective. Now they feel what was felt. And now they're going, oh, I didn't know I did that. Oh my gosh, how am I such an idiot? So they're really a gentle, kind soul, but they were messed around with here when they were having their physical life. Each personality, you come in with your own type of personality, but when they're molded as children, their IDs and identities become switched around. They might get jealous, angry because of abusive parents. We don't know. So once they recognize what they've done, and we say on the other side, when you see yourself through your brother's eyes, then you understand. So now you're seeing yourself abusing yourself, which is the animal, as well as another soul, because we're all connected in energy with that soul.
So when people go through a life review,
they
each have their individual life review, and they'll be confronted with their actions, their behaviors.
Right. And they have to ask for forgiveness. They have to basically say, what an idiot. Oh my gosh, I didn't realize. And then they got to ask, oh my, I didn't mean it. But because of what they did, however the abuse was, or murder, whatever it could be, that usually sends them back. Well, not always with abuse, but mostly with murdering and horrible things like that. But if they can repent and ask and get the other souls that they abused to say they forgive them, that's another one. So a lot of things can be worked out on the other side when you get there. You can work with the higher self of the other soul that might still be alive on planet Earth and might not hold a grudge anymore to maybe being abused as a child, raped or something, right? Some adult in their family. If that happens, and they can forgive it and let it go for now, and that other person dies on the other side, now they can work it out with the other aspect of that same soul, which is usually the higher self. Even sometimes an oversoul will come through as an aspect for that person. And they will say, I was so terrible, I never want to do that again. And if that child or person that forgave them, that aspect can say, you've been forgiven by my aspect, myself. And we don't have to do this anymore. That means you don't have to keep coming back with that same soul to do it again. Like now, the other person has to get abused by somebody else. But it's crazy. It's just crazy stuff that goes on. But you can work these things out on the other side to not have to keep coming back if they're not that bad. A lot of people don't do bad things to keep coming back.
I just want to say,
they just do keep coming
one
back.
of the biggest dangers to coming back is the lack of knowledge of what Mark is talking about. Lack of knowledge is like really that's your big problem, because you're not going over there with having learned this yet.
Let's have a little fake t-shirt. We always have things we go, well, it's a t-shirt. We call it, you die with your lies.
Yeah, you die with your lies.
Now, whatever lies of whatever they're telling us and programming us with, which you know who I mean, they, everybody. If they're programming us with these fears and angers and whatever, you know, it's mostly fears, a lot of fear. So they're, well, what's going to happen to me? Maybe I'm afraid to die, you know, that kind of stuff. But there's other things that they do. But if you have people have been reading stories or, you know, believing in these other things that are coming in right now, a lot of stuff on the internet, because guess what? The internet is manipulated by the beings. Let's say the negative, we call them lower astral. We know who they are. And they manipulate everything around. So they're creating people to make people and create, not creating people. They create stories through people to confuse people that are watching their shows on YouTube, etc. They're progressing and promoting lies about Yehoshua, lies about the way things are on the other side, lies about, this is the best lie. This is the best lie they've been doing for a while now, 20, 30 years. Everything, all the souls on planet Earth are trapped here, that they get out of body, they pass on, they leave, they go to the moon, and then they're bounced and trapped and put somewhere in Jupiter or Saturn, sent back to keep reincarnating constantly on a wheel. That's a lie, and that's not true. But it's a fear tactic they want to use to scare the souls to think, I'm trapped and I can't escape. This is a lie. And there's some other ETs out there that are fake, let's say, but that are doing this stuff too. So we have to be careful. And I know people need to discern. Children, the Creator calls us all the children, but we have to learn to discern when we're hearing truth from right and wrong. And most of this negative junk is wrong and negative and a lie. And they're just trying to scare the people here because this is their time out. Theirs is the last time they know things are happening. They know the Earth's going through things. They know what's going to happen. And our beloved friend Creator is coming back. Now they know this, and they've been promoting fake ancient news since before 5,000 years and before. So they've been doing this. They know what's going on. And that's why I call it, Marc Phyllis and I call it the nuclear bomb, or the Moab of all things against these beings, to stay away from the children of the Creator, which is us. We are not Creator. We are children of the Creator. We can do things that are very powerful, even on the high realms, that look like we are Creator's energy God, or whatever people want to call themselves. But we are not gods, really. We just have the power and that authority on those high realms. But that still doesn't make us the Creator. And it just makes us to do the things we do with thought. On the high realms, anything you think becomes real for you, including on the other side if you're astral projecting, but usually a reverse of it. So it's amazing what goes on, how Creator has set everything up for us to experience and explore and have fun in doing too, on the higher realms. But what's going on is these lower beings were all in the area where they were cast to, in the frequencies, and we chose it as challenges to come in as testing grounds and boot camp, as we call it, a boot camp of tests and strengthening of the souls, discerning. Yeah, you're going to learn as a child, growing. You're going to learn this is wrong. That person hit me and that was wrong, or I don't hit people, things like this. But then you learn to discern the energies. As you learn the energy frequency, children learn of a person that's mad or evil or bad or good. They learn that energy frequency is right here in the solar plexus where it's learned, and here. And then as they get older, I've seen this with other people as well. You'll meet people for the first time, and then an impression will come, a feeling for the first time. You might even see them, not meet them yet. And your vibe is, something's off. I don't want to go near that one. Or maybe I stay away. But then there's another person you might see that it's like, who is that? I feel like I know them. And you want to go over and just say hi. You don't know who they are yet, and you can introduce yourself. That is when your soul, the teaching or what you've learned, has recognized a frequency pattern that was good or bad in your childhood or as you were growing. That says, and sometimes a person will get an impression of a picture of the person in school, let's say high school or whatever, a picture of the boy or girl that was abusive to them or made fun, whatever it is, and they'll say, oh, that energy, flash right in them. That person has that kind of similar energy probably don't want to be friends because they turn on you. Whereas the other one might flash a benevolent and loving person, even people's mothers or aunts or cousins, people who are kind and gentle. Oh, that's a similar frequency. And this is where we get into that other frequencies of twin souls and things. Energies are frequencies that are the souls recognize each other.
But what you're teaching is discernment.
Discernment. You know, that's how children learn to
discernment
discern.
101.
And as you get older, you can discern like that with humans. You know, like you're going to a party and people are around and somebody comes towards you and you get a stomach nausea or an upset tightness. There's something with his or her energy and it makes you back up a little and you just want to see who they're about. Other times an energy comes towards you, a person at a party, whatever they are, we're just meeting in the store, and you got a really nice energy. And you find out they're just sweet people, really kind. So that's, you go, oh, there you go. So that's how your body and your soul is actually picking up frequencies.
And that's how you need to be able to discern words you read the same way.
The same energy comes through with people speaking, reading, or you're hearing someone read to you some story. The same feeling will come in, or a feeling in your head somewhere like that you're going, wait a minute, I'm hearing something off here. You know it, but you're going, well, I'll give them a chance. And you keep going, and it's like, no, something's off totally. But then there's other times when you just see what's wrong, totally wrong with whatever's being read or seen in typing. So this is when you learn to discern it. And you trust that, because the trust is in the gut, as you say, and everybody says it's true. The trust comes from there. It's like something's tight, something's wrong, something's fishy here. And as soon as you research it, or if you have to research, you research some, and you go, yeah, I thought so. I knew it. I vibed it right away. And then everything's calm again. So just don't pay attention to people who write that or whatever YouTubes are out there, whatever's going on. That's what's happening right now. And the negative beings are utilizing everything with YouTubes, TV, radio to promote fear. You're trapped here. There's no way out. Even if you're an extraterrestrial, doesn't matter. Everybody's an extraterrestrial type being. We're all souls. We all live someplace on some planet system somewhere. And so you're here now, and your over part, there's so much on the oversouls that people don't understand, and what we do and how we work on those levels, and where we're located within all these different places, all the different galaxies. We're all at once in places through the oversoul, like a giant diamond with many facets. And we're at different places at once. But it's where you're located now in this consciousness you're in, which you chose to come through at this time, to be here now. And that oversoul is within our galaxy now, and within our solar system area, working with us here. And that's how we can connect to each other. And then another galaxy. If you go to visit another galaxy, if you look, say, tuning to your oversoul, that aspect of you is still in that galaxy too. It's every place. It's every place. And it's hard for people to fathom it. But once you get it, what it is I was telling one of our friends last night, it's almost like working like a relay team. It's frequencies. I'm here as a higher self aspect. Most higher selves are on the next frequencies of the fourth and fifth within the planes around the planet Earth, working with their aspect here on the Earth now. And so when they walk in as a walk-in or come in, there's very rare. I've only met one so far, higher self aspect that's come in. So, and I'll not say, but I know who she is, and she knows what I'm talking about. But she's watching probably right now, hopefully, and you know her too. So the thing is there's not too many. I meet other walk-ins who are just coming in as an aspect because they're working in this frequency, this solar system here in this planet Earth, and they're saying, I'm coming in to do this now, but their higher self is pretty close with them. So when they come in, they remember why they came in and what's going on. That's how that walk-ins usually work out. If there was an accident, to jump into a body that the other soul just took off, has to leave. You have to get into the body before it really dies and gets messed up. So you have minutes, or if it was dead, it gets jumped and comes back, and that walk-in is in there now at that time with the memory of what they know, but not usually the memory of the person that just left. So it's different each time. And a lot of people coming in, there's a lot of souls trying to get in from other places as well, other galaxies and places that might have had a life on Earth one time or two times or three times. And they want one more time to get to this dense level, one more time. They were Ethereans. So they come to this density because they know this is boot camp heavy duty here. If you can pass through this one lifetime without doing such evil I mean, people do things that are mistakes, you know, and they do things. But if they can get through it and pass through, get to the other side.
And leave with
and
clarity.
Leave with clarity,
yes.
That'd be great. They know that that one life was the equivalent of getting rid of that karma very quickly too. Then the karma you might have on ethereal levels that take lifetimes, 800, 500 Earth time years, 1,000 Earth time years. That's how that some of those lives are on those other sides. And they're working etheric karma. But they know if we come into this boot camp one time, almost like 500 years lives is wiped out because you won't have to do it. But you can go back to a high Etherean life now or go back to the high realms and you have wiped out a ton of karma. And that's what's going on with beings now, because when they see these end time results going on these planet systems, and this is what they're telling me to tell everybody. I know I sound like I'm talking, but it's them telling me to tell you all what to say. I'm hearing from my overparts. They're saying, it's this time now. This planet's going through its changes. It's got 13,000, 12,000 year cycles. The sun, the solar sun, our sun is going through cycles. Every 12,000 years, all these stars are having their micronovas right now from the center of the galaxy coming out with the wave that's coming. And that's hit. And we have chemicals on our star that have been noticed now that have never been there before, but it happens in the other stars that have had micronovas. So we're not being told everything because they don't want to make everybody panic. But guess what? They're digging into the earth to make their homes or places to go to escape, leaving all of us on top ground. And they're trying to make rockets to escape to Mars, to get somewhere else, but they're still going to get hit with the same energy. Except that if they're underground on the moon or underground on Mars or underground on Earth, it won't be so bad. Everybody on topsoil is going to get burned up or something's going to go wrong. So
Mark, I have a question about the micronova. So, you know, many people have talked about this, and it's a cyclical process. How would it affect us as a collective and as a physical planet, depending on the quality and level of consciousness that we're holding? So I'm imagining that if you're holding a third dimensional collective consciousness, we'll have a more cataclysmic effect from the micronova. But if you manage to make it to fourth, fifth, higher dimensional collective consciousness, will that change how we actually receive this micronova?
People are trying to say that is part of what I know they're putting something out like that we will experience it like, you know, warm pudding going over us. No, that's not true. If we're physical here, we're going to experience it in some way. However, when you're with the Creator in your minds and thoughts, the Creator will protect us and guide us to different places and where we got to be safe. The crew and our friends in high realms can also rescue the souls here and children and the people. But when their minds are on the light, their minds have upgraded here like we're doing that. If you're a person, an earth person that's just into money, stepping on people to get the job done, and not having any belief systems.
But Kiara's question is if there were enough people, he's wondering that if there are enough people, we've heard this question before, but I want to know what Sarah says. If there were enough people that were to
collectively
really put out love and the good energy and forgiveness and all of that, and as a massive group of humans on the planet, we did that, would that change how the cataclysm goes, or is it just nature?
Well, we know that if all the souls, if planetary souls, people on the planet physical, have consciousness that's raised high, very high, meaning thinking on light, thinking on love only, thinking on the Creator and giving thanks and praising the Creator and giving thanks to everything we see. And if everybody's thinking similar thought, well, the frequency gets higher, definitely for the planets. So a lot of people on this planet are thinking a lot of negativity, a lot of bad stuff going on under the earth as well, inside. And people know what I mean. That is holding things back for them. But as individuals, as friends in groups like this, when you're thinking on that high level, there are things that can happen. I've been teleported twice already on the ships. That means you flash away in an instant. When they speak about that in the Old Testament, in the flash of an eye, the people who are in the field of working, one will disappear, the other will be there. Two people laying in a bed, one will be there, and one will disappear. That is definitely what I know is how we work it. That means one of the people, it's metaphors, everybody. Two people in a field. Well, today it's two people walking on a sidewalk. One could be spiritual, one could be just regular earth, like make the money, step on people to get there. The one that's spiritual and loving and gives and cares about creator and loves the infinite and loves all people, loves all animals, nature, that would be the one that disappears because of the frequency that's high to be seen and noticed. When we're in the ships, we do a show where we have an idea of what it looks like from the high realm coming down from the ship. You're in a ship observing the earth, and then you're going to zoom down. We have over in New York City on the spot, like what is it?
Columbus
Circle. We're utilizing pictures like from Google Map. So we come down and we put the people glowing their auras. Their auras are walking around. We don't see much, but you're seeing the auras when you're in those realms. So when we zoom in, we can come very close to where you're like seeing the dirt on the sand on the sidewalk. That's how zoomed in we can go from those high realms, miles and miles up. So we go like, okay, so we can see who's walking around with a dark brown chocolate aura, a black aura of satanic evil, or a gray aura of just don't care about anything, kind of atheistic, and just makes money is brown, usually those colors. But we can see the lavender, the pink, and the blue, and the white, and the gold. We see all those colors. And all those colors are the colors we see and notice very clearly. Those are the children who are spiritual. Those are the ones who care about others and about helping. And basically, that's basically what we're looking at. All children are rescued, little ones. All children get rescued because they're innocents. But the adults that we see with the pink, light blue, lavender, pale gold, blazing white light, they will get taken, which means they'll disappear in the blink of an eye. And we've done this in the ancient Atlantean times. We did that, and I rescued a few people from Atlantis with some friends. And we met people who, sadly, some of our friends have passed on to the other side now. But when we met them in the early 80s, they remembered and recognized me, or even the 70s, they recognized me and said, you came to help me in Atlantis. You were one of them. They rescued us.
They recognized your space self.
My space self, not Mark. They recognized me and the others. See, even though I'm in this body, I am my other self. When people have been out of body with me, I'm showing you this one, but Phyllis has this image. It's black and white pencil drawing I did. But that's me out of body when you meet me. And I'm 8 feet tall, 7.5 feet, 8 feet tall, 9 feet, depending where we are. Dark hair, blonde hair, doesn't matter. Dark skin, tan skin, but that's who they see. So Ingo saw me and me here. And most psychics who do see through, they have, very few of them have said, oh my gosh, you're one of those people. And I see you right there. I said, thank you, that's okay. So you meet me out of body like that. Now, that's the thing. We see the people.
But what you were saying is that those friends that we met remembered Mark taking them up.
Yeah, because they were
rescuing.
And Ingo saw me. He said, oh, you're a higher self right here. So here's what an illustration we did for our shows. It's on a pod. What do we do that?
I think it was
keynotes. Yeah, keynotes.
Right.
So we show the big ships that are very much out there. And these beams,
how big are these ships?
Miles, 200 miles long. Some of them.
Okay, so they're capable
miles.
of. Yeah.
So it's a little higher.
Oh,
so
I can't see, guys.
Those are three 2,000-mile long ships.
Right.
Wow.
Okay, and this one here is over America.
And those are just the Ashtar ships.
These work with Ashtar. Some of the ships with the alliances.
There are other,
These are the same ships. These are teaching ships too.
Right.
So the beam we're showing is a big area beam. Who's ever glowing aura will be taken in that beam. No one of a glowing aura will not be going. So it's not beaming everybody up. It only beams up to the frequencies that they know.
So would this happen at a specific time for everybody, the same time?
That could be questionable. I would say could happen that way, but they can teleport when needed. But for a rescue, that's for when they rescue. And other times we rescue people from cataclysmic events that are happening about to happen.
When we're going through the micronova, when you're going through magnetic reversal, specific events.
Yes, it would restore that and happen before it happens. Or at the time it could be starting, you might start seeing the ships up in the sky or telepathically listening. And that's why we try to tune in with people, telepath with them. You will hear a testing. If you're walking down the street, Kiara, and you're just walking somewhere and you're not thinking about anything, you're just seeing what a beautiful day. And all of a sudden you hear telepathic impulse. Hi, look up. And you look up. there's a disc or a UFO of some kind or a sphere that we see a lot of here in the city, and you say, whoa, and they're talking to you. They're looking at you too. We can see right down. So I tell people, oh, don't think they're, miles and miles high up, thousands and thousands of feet, and they're not seeing you. They're seeing right at us. If we're looking up, they're looking at our face, just like we're looking on here right now.
Sure.
And you say, hi, I love you. Thank you for that. I'll test me again. I promise I'll listen. I'll look up. Sometimes they test you and they have nothing in the sky to see, but you get the impression someone's there. So then you say, thanks for that test. I know you're there. I'm hearing, I'm listening. Keep testing me. And sometimes you walk down the street somewhere, like one of our friends who never usually sees a UFO ever. We showed her some. And this is our friend in the East Side. She said she was walking home one night on Lexington or somewhere, and she heard or felt turn around. So she was stopped, automatically started turning her body, started turning around. She was like, what am I doing? Right. And she goes, what? And then she hears hi. And above a building is a silver UFO, big disc. And she goes, oh. She says, hi, thank you. And it went over Central Park. So I said, that was your test. You won. Not only did they test you to see if we can turn your body to help you in tune to it, our own soul is turning our body to look, not them. They're tuning in the frequencies to see which ones are working for us. So not telepathic as well. It's like, hello, hi. Or the body as well is tuning in and going like that. That's happened to me many times. I walk down the street, I'll go, just stop and turn around. There they are. Because they're tapping all the frequencies they want on our soul, trying to see what are we listening for? Are we listening and following through? That's all you got to do is follow through.
Okay, I want to jump in and say one thing. What Mark is saying is 100,000,000% true, but if you've got earplugs in your ears,
oh right, thanks, Boogie,
and listening to too much music, you're not experiencing.
Thanks.
Now you're distracted.
That's part of our whole thing.
And
they showed me things in the ears all the time on a vision I had in 1978. They showed me a whole thing that was going to happen with sequence. All the things were going to be coming in invented, and I had no idea what I was looking at. I thought they were tape recorders or something, like radios. And they ended up really being cell phones. But now, as modern time, we know what it is now. But when you looked at my old imaging, it was like boxes, little things, thing on a wrist. I thought it was Dick Tracy walkie-talkie. The guy was tapping it and he was talking at it. And he was using a cell phone on his wrist. But how did I know that? Not 1978. But that's what they said. More distraction, they said to me. As you see these things occur, it just flashed by me in a vision, physical vision. Boom, boom, boom. As you see this occur, it's getting close. As you see this happen, it's getting close. You see this, it's getting closer. As you see this, it's getting closer. And then they had earphones coming down, and they had all this stuff going on. They had Walkmans. All these things were there, and I just thought radio tape recorder. I didn't know what they were.
That did not exist yet.
They didn't exist yet in 1978. So then when it came to the earphones in the ear, and they showed me the Bluetooth, they actually showed me that. Maybe Star Trek with Uhura, right? I was thinking, well, that's weird. Okay. Then it went inside, and they said, when you see it's inside and it's not noticeable, that's it. Time's up. It's that now.
So what does that mean?
It's not going to happen tomorrow.
Doesn't mean time's up forever.
We think we've got it.
It means time's up, get your act together. We haven't got a lot of time. We have maybe 10, 15 years. I don't even know if it's 20. But there's things are going to be happening in those times. We have reversals of energy going on. We have the poles are shifting around. And when the Earth does a little tilt, we're going to have a problem. We also have energetic things happening with the weather that's never been seen before. Lightning coming up from the Earth going to the sky. Funnels of tornadoes coming from the sky downward as a funnel to a big funnel on the bottom, not funnel.
It's basically an upside down tornado.
Reversals. And these are the signs in the sky that Yehoshua spoke about in the ancient times. He said, you could read the signs of the weather, but can you read the signs of the times?
I do want to say one thing.
Sky.
Ben Davidson from Suspicious Observers was
I'm just going to bring him up, right?
A couple of years ago, he said, here was this inverted tornado, right? And I took a screen grab of it because I was so, mesmerized by it. And then I went back later to try to find it on the internet. It was nowhere to be found. They scrubbed it.
Yeah. Well, Ben talks about, in his last video that I watched, he talked about various different events that are part of this big sequence of events. And so he talked about, of course, we're in the midst of the grand solar minimum now.
Yeah.
Then we
actually, it's the grand. We're we're into solar maximum. We're going where there's going to be far more what do you call sunspots?
Yeah, we came out of a minimum,
and we're going into maximum. The reason it's going to be more difficult for us is because of the weakening magnetosphere.
Right.
And the thing that I thought was so darn fascinating, because I didn't even, Ingo Swann was the one that made me go find that site about 4 or 5 years ago now. I can't remember. Anyway, I was just, I stumbled on it one day and I was like, oh my God, I'm so obsessed. I even, signed up to get the inside information. And then I said, why did I do that? And then Mark heard Ingo laughing.
I made her do that, sweetheart.
So that was that.
Because Ingo's into all this astrophysicist. He's a scientist on the other. He was a scientist here on Earth as well. Right. And a super psychic, but he's the one who coined remote viewing for the military when he worked there.
He did the best he could while he was here, but the books that he wrote were, I think, maybe over some people's heads.
Yeah. And we helped him with the books. Phyllis did a lot of the illustration.
Well, no, I didn't do any of his.
The illustration.
I only copied precise. I think he was a triple Virgo. I'm not sure, but his pencil drawings were about as exact as a drawing can be. The only thing I did was replicate it in Quark Express at the time. So I didn't do anything, but help him do. He hired me to do that.
He didn't want to put our names in his book because he didn't want to get us harassed by the military.
By the military.
I already said 1977, 76. I had them over my house, black helicopters, because they knew what I was doing.
Yeah, wait a minute.
And tapped the phone, so it's okay.
The reason I was going down that road was because when Ben Davidson a couple of years ago said, when the Carrington effect happened, when the CME in 1859 blew out all of the telegraph wires on the side that it hit, and then they kept broadcasting. He said that was what all of a sudden accelerated the migration of the magnetic poles, because they had been going extremely slowly before then. So that is a very interesting point.
And that's why they said they're not showing every 5 years what they were doing with the magnetic poles, which they had been doing from when.
Yeah, they would do it every
because you can't map it anymore. Yeah, it's
and they stopped it. When
they
it was
won't
supposed
do
to
it.
happen, they didn't do it last
in 2020
year.
they were supposed to report, and they didn't report,
which tells us it's faster than they
so we're just all sitting there going, uh-oh.
Well, he also talks about the technological kill shot, as he calls it, which would be the same as the Carrington effect, but
you mean an EMP or something?
Yeah, a major EMP, but because the Earth's magnetic field is so much weaker, it will affect us that much more. Exactly. So this could destroy our internet systems. It could destroy our power systems, our communication systems, in a very
bring it back to the 1750s or something.
No, exactly. Or even further back.
Right.
Because people are not prepared for this. In the 1750s, people knew how to survive.
Exactly.
Using horse and buggies and so on. Now we don't.
That's right.
Yeah, exactly. And if what we got going today on the planet Earth right now, we got people we know buying up properties in Midwest where food is produced.
Right.
Trying to nullify it, kill cattle, whatever. What happens? If this happens, there's no supplies for anything happening on planet Earth, because they're trying to take out animals.
I only have one idea about that. I say get as many beans as you possibly can so you can sprout them.
Yeah.
And then you'll always have fresh.
You can get some seeds that aren't.
A lot of beans.
Or learn how to live on light, which is something many people are learning to do now. So
learn to live on light.
So connect with the prana body,
yeah,
and receive whatever nourishment your body needs directly from the ethers, which
works.
I've experimented with myself. It works.
Really?
Yeah.
How long were you able to go?
I got to a place where I could go as long as I wanted, but then I realized that if I'm going to be in the middle of family and people, that it's not the wisest decision.
It's inconvenient.
It's the thing we all talked about. Like, you can go off to the cave and be there and have all that happening. Then you're not helping on this physical density when you came in to help. So when people don't understand, you can do these things. You can go test and go to the mountain and do that. But then there's a point where you are escaping the reason you came in as well. You can do all this.
Of course, that wouldn't be Kiara.
No, but the fact that he did it, and whenever you do talks and things, you get feed energy, you get this energy of influx energy coming from, I call it comes from creator, because when I'm talking for creator's energy, when it connects to me, I'm never hungry and I'm never tired. And Phyllis will be watching me. I say, I do not eat before I give lectures because I want that pure coming through. And then when I'm done with the lecture for a couple hours or whatever, even 7 hours,
then he's hungry.
We are like, I'm hungry because now, now I want something to go for it. But all during the time, nothing's happening. They always say, aren't you hungry? Do you want something to drink? I say, well, I'm okay with just the water.
I think here is talking about something different though.
No. Remember the breatharians and the light, the people that would look at the sun. That's a whole different thing. Right. People gotta be careful about the sun. Yeah. The sun eaters. Because what's happening with the sun now is more dangerous than it ever was before. Very dangerous right now. So you don't want your earth eyes to be looking at the sun.
No, not well, except for that brief moment as the sun rises or before it sets.
Exactly.
That's it. I've seen people go out there trying to do that.
No, but I think a lot of it also has to do with the quality of your attention. So when you're paying attention to life and when you're fully present to life, then you're receiving prana directly from each moment, just like plants do.
Yep.
And so you don't have to be doing anything special. You don't have to be sun gazing or doing special meditations. You're just being in the space of joy and presence. And then you're connected up to all the different bodies, the higher bodies, the causal, subtle bodies. And that then imprints through the etheric body into the physical. And once that happens, then the laws change, the laws of nourishment, the laws of physics. You can beam yourself around, you can travel instantaneously. And so what I sense is that, we're getting ready for a time. Ben Davidson talks about the skill shot from the sun and whatever else happens with the galactic superwaves and solar micronova. But in this process, we're also learning to activate the DMT in our pineal gland. And as that happens, because the weakening of the collective magnetic field triggers the activation of the DMT. And once that happens, then the doorways are wide open. The doorway between the physical worlds, the astral, the higher astral, causal, and then the multidimensional self can lock in. Since this is part of the ascension program, there may be a time, so you talked about the separation, the wheat and the tares, the goats and the sheep.
Yeah.
But this is a time when those who are ready to move into higher dimensional reality can choose to do so in a timeline where the earth herself is verdant. So she's not, in the state that we have put her into, where, we've destroyed half the planet.
Yes.
But the earth, there's a higher vibrational field within Gaia that is holding space for us as we emerge into this next dimension.
That's where, again, then people will walk away and disappear, because we've heard of things like that where people walked into a field and just dematerialized. And they're on the other side. There's people there, but they never come back because they can't make it back to the doorway. And I've walked through doorways where you see the past, and you had to back up and go back to where you just came, and everything goes back to normal, sort of, for us. But these things are real because we have frequencies all around the planet. All the past is here with us, and all the future too at the same time.
Right.
But we're talking about something else right now. We're talking. He's talking about. We're a little bit. I don't know where you live, but we're stuck in New York City, and in the past, since the whole pandemic. Pandemic.
Pandemic or pandemic.
Pandemic. They've incarcerated, all the human beings on the planet, and made us really. They took us away from nature.
Yeah.
Not to get the sunlight you need for your deed.
Yeah.
The other thing, Kiara, we teach a whole thing that's totally different as well on the high realms. And we bring this in with our teaching, with our activation, which we seemingly cannot do because of everything being locked down. And I cannot figure out a way to do this on a video.
Online. Yeah.
Because it involves our friends and my crew and my friends, because I teach this, my crew, and we teach this on the high realms to the Ethereans. And this is what I was telling Sheila about, our friend Sheila, is that we teach this on the other realm. It's an activation in a sense, and we teach how to work with it and what goes on. But on the other realms, you remove your soul who connects with you on these etheric levels here with us as well. But what happens is the oversoul and the higher self come towards the person. Mostly higher self will come in. You might then meet your higher self right in front of you. And we've had this happening. So I'm trying to figure out a way, is it possible? Because what happens is I bring my friends and crew, we bring in a ship, an etheric ship, and we bring it into the place we're giving the talk. No one's doing this. No one can do this, not with the authority I have from Samantha. So I've only been given this authority from him in 2008. And he said, you could do this, but this is how it has to be done. And no one's going to be able to do it because this is your teachings from where you guys come from, where we come from. It's our teachings on the ship. So it's like, I know there's people out there that want to learn it and go do it, but they can't because we taught a lot of people and no one's teaching it because they can't. All you can do is do it for you. When we teach it, you're activating with this, what they do with it, and then it's yours. It's yours. It's not, Sam or Millie to go out and create another group and do it. It will not happen. It is not their authority or get. That's what the teaching.
So what's the point?
So the point is that if there's a way we could figure out a way to help people with this, because we've taught them here, we've taught them in other places.
Where do you live?
Comes in. Are you in Sedona?
Yeah. Well, I'm in India right now in Bangalore, but I totally get what you're saying because I used to travel everywhere, teaching this physically, working with how to integrate the light body with the physical body, and when you're physically present with groups and have time to go through this. And we're not talking about just a few hours, we're talking about days or even weeks and months. Where people can really take this energy inside themselves and make the transformations they need to. But with the lockdowns and lack of transportation, I still feel like it can happen, but I'm also waiting for the right moment when we can do this physically. I talk about these Gaia's gardens, specific places on this earth where people will be drawn to come together to do the work necessary, the inner work, the inner technologies to open up connections and transform themselves into the new species. Because I feel like what's happening now is not just a deconditioning program that we're going through. We're actually creating a new species with different DNA that hasn't been explored before. So we're actually creating a new galactic species on this planet.
You're correct. And that's what I'm here to help with that too. And that's why we're doing activations to help people with that understanding. But, we'll figure out a way, something will be done. But what's going on is now, but right for now, people, you just have, all the people listening and your friends who are not listening, anybody who tells their friends in the video, focusing on the infinite creator, focusing on the infinite creator as the parent that it is to us. Think on the creator. The light goes out so strong. The creator sends back when you praise the infinite creator, mother, father, father, mother. Praise. I love you. You're the most beautiful being. I love you. You're my beloved. There's no other. You're my beloved. You have to keep praising the creator. No one on this planet seems to be taught to do that. Praising, people call it praise and worship. It's praising because in praise is your loving worship and your humbleness as a child of the creator. So you praise with reverence, devotion, what's our other fact? Love, humility,
gratitude, appreciation.
Gratitude, big one, appreciation, all that. And you're sending out praise. And we have on our site, where is it under the universal symbols? We have creator, praise creator. You click on that link on the creator and you'll see a page come up with just words to praise, just to give people fun, help. And here's ways to praise. The infinite light of the living waters of the light of the infinite creator. I love you, you are this, all that. When you praise, it answers back really quickly, comes to you. And in that light that it brings to us, as we keep praising as we walk down the street, just give thanks. You walk down the street, what a beautiful day. Thank you, Creator, for this beautiful day. And we call Creator in space Yahweh, which means breath of life. But if people just say Creator, my beloved, whatever, just it's okay. Even God, you can say God, Creator knows what we mean, it, not the Baal God or the evil thing. So we're going down the road and you'll find that nature comes towards you. Nature spirits come by, butterflies land on you, birds come by and land on your shoulder. This happens when you're praising the creator, because you're seeing the creator in everything you see everywhere. So that's what's going on. And the crew and our friends are telling people this. And I want to tell this to people too, because you brought that up. when we praise, when we do that, this is from them. They're telling us now, and I told me before, but I'm telling you again. When we praise like that and concentrate on the infinite creator, on Sananda, on the one who was here, Sananda as Yehoshua, he walked the planet one time, that was it. Never reincarnated, wasn't here, didn't marry everybody, didn't marry anybody, didn't have children, didn't do that because he's celibate, he's creator. He says, I come to my children. That's what he said to me. He says, I'm not going to do that. That would cause a bloodline thing. And that's not what's going on this planet. So he was who he is. We have the whole story of what he really did and why he came. And that's a whole different thing. But when you praise in that way, your genetic codes and your frequency of your cells starts to enlighten, glow. I'll call it enlightening glow. It just starts to glow. Things start to shift into a pattern of your own higher self forms. This is what's going on. You're transferring that energy frequency from higher self, oversoul, praise. On the oversoul levels, what do you think we're doing? We know who creator is. We know who Sananda is. And we praise in our ways that we do on the ships. We do different things in the realms of the creator. So there's love and light all the time in our mind and thought. And then we work with each other. We have fun. We do things. We explore. And then the higher self being of ourself coming through is doing the same thing. It's always a relay of love and energy. Some souls are closed off to that. They don't understand it. Their oversouls are not on those realms. They're on different levels. Can happen. They're not all out there on the high realms. They're learning still. Some of them got a little confused. They got a little lower and they go, well, I'm going back up to higher and higher. But most oversouls are on the high realms in some way. Most of them, the higher selves are the ones interacting here with different aspects, who they push forth. So we got this energy, that love, that transcendent energy. That's the creator. That's what everybody wants to call their ascended energy. It is ascended frequency. So when it comes through with praise, when it comes through with love, devotion to the infinite, this is just a test ground. This is not our true home. I think the energy shifts in the cells.
I want to use the word simplicity, that you don't need to study 25 years to get to a certain level of consciousness. But if you really do what Marc just said and truly praise from your heart, you pretty much, it'll be like you studied 25 years.
It's true. And you will get wisdom given to you. You pray and you say, I'm asking for the wisdom from prayer. Don't say, anybody praying anywhere, don't pray for strength. That's a secret. Watch out. Don't pray for strength. You get some stuff coming at you like, oh, you want strength. Yeah. You're on this planet. There's more strength. Things that will toughen you. Just say wisdom to discern, wisdom to understand, wisdom to know when what I'm hearing is truth, wisdom to speak truth when I know it's truth from my heart. Don't let me say anything that wouldn't be what if your infinite one would be coming through. And that's how I pray and ask these things before we even do these things. I'm always saying, let the words come from me that you would want, that you would say are truth. Whatever you say, I'll listen. But if I say ever have said anything that didn't sound correct to me or my over part, my mouth will get almost tongue-tied. So I always knew that I was about to say something that wasn't exactly accurate, and I'll stumble. So I always knew what that meant. That meant not whatever I was just about to say wasn't the exact wording to say, and I stopped. So that's how our oversouls and higher selves connect to us to say, stop.
Yeah, there's like
a coughing.
What I sense is there's a right above here, maybe 3-4 feet above the head, there's like a source point which has a tone. And as you listen to that tone, whatever is needed comes through, whether it's words, whether it's inspiration, whether it's wisdom, love, joy. It's like as we pay attention to that, that's how I would see the oversoul, is that connection through the soul level, into the oversoul level, into the infinite soul.
Oh, yeah.
And there's a whole sequence of bodies connected with all of this too.
Yes,
bodies, dimensions.
Tell you guys something. Okay, so all these things I'm showing everybody, right? I'm going, oh, look at this, oh, look at that, right? All of it's right here. It's not like that. That's just a way.
Yeah, it's all interpenetrating.
Yeah, it's just high frequency. There's certain high frequencies that are out there that are so high that the average person, working and stepping on people to get to work, or stealing money, whatever they're doing, will not get to that high frequency. It's right there, but they can't get through because of their energy, what they have around them. So that's what we're trying to say. Start praising, start getting that energy frequency up, and you'll start noticing, you'll start looking younger, you'll start looking different, you might feel younger, things like that, depending on how old we are at the time. These things will happen, and that way with the frequency of the energy going into the cellular structures of our DNA. So whatever they're going to try to do to people with a shot, or whatever they're trying to do to people, if you don't want to take a shot, all you got to do is pray over it, which is for the infinite light, the infinite mystical blood of Christ upon it. Mystical blood of Christ is it's a crimson white, sparkling diamond energy. Comes in crimson and goes white, blazing white light, and sparkles in gold and diamonds of shimmering light. That's what you pray on, over it. If someone gives you a cylinder or whatever that with the injection fluid in it, say, "Can I look at that?" And then put your hands over and immediately fall on that right then. He promised me and told me if this ever happens to people and they're forced to get something, to do that and pray on it and make it inert. We have friends in Long Island that did that, that actually believed that because they were that already, and they were forced to have to get them for their jobs. Nothing happened to them. Not one thing happened. She said, one of them said to me, the worst that happened to my husband was he felt tired on the second one, just a little tired. I heard people who had been wiped out for hours, for a day, but that's still not so bad. The thing is Creator can do anything. Nothing a human or any being on any galaxy or anywhere can do anything to override the infinite Creator. And whatever these evil things want to do and create things to hurt others and harm them, Creator's already outdone them and got them already before, because it already knows what they were thinking that they were going to do. So don't fear, for the infinite one is with us always, but always connect with that praise. Always praise, love, devotion.
Well,
humbleness, the most thing.
That would be if somebody's looking for a mission. If somebody's looking for, I don't have a mission. What's my mission? Why don't you just teach people? Why don't you learn how to praise and then teach others how to praise Creator? Why don't you do that? If you did that, you probably would be giving them the greatest gift they ever received. I'm just saying, things are simple.
Yeah, we get on the ships. We're always
and it's amplifying. Taking it back to Ben Davidson, he talks about the cosmic rays that are sweeping through the earth now. So these are galactic cosmic rays, these are solar cosmic rays, and because of the weakening Earth's magnetic field, they're bombarding the earth and penetrating deeper into the earth than ever before, which includes penetrating deeper into our subtle and physical bodies, into our mental and emotional bodies. And so what this means is that we have access to these cosmic frequencies. But those of us who are open to it can use it. If you're not open to it, if you're shut down emotionally, physically, or mentally, then those cosmic rays, instead of awakening us, will actually create
harmful effects
and break down the physical structures.
I think that's a really good idea.
That's true.
That's a good point he just raised.
And that's so true, because if you ever notice, I don't know if anybody studies like Pleistocene or any of that, or ancient times, and we used to visit Earth a lot of times back then, before the Earth was even totally being formed. Whenever the suns go through this stuff we're going through now, whenever the star system, I'll say solar suns go through a wave like these things, like every cycles and all, watch and notice the new species that show up. There's always a new genetic code, a new thing going on with a new species being discovered. Yeah, they're being discovered a lot, but there's always one, somehow a die-off of something maybe can happen as well. And let's pray for the elephants, because they are a big species and we want them to continue on. But there's other species that show up when their genetics are being manipulated, let's say, again, with the frequencies that we're talking about. And that happens. But that, I'm looking back because I'm actually hearing, they're talking for them, and our angels and friends. So they're saying, this thing that's happening, have no fear, keep your energy high, keep your thoughts on the Creator, have no fear. There's nothing to be afraid of. We've gone through these things before in other places and planet systems, but don't let them get to you, those little lower astral types and those negative beings, because their fear is what they feed on. Our fears and things is what they love, and pornography, whatever they're doing, they do all that, drugs, everything. They want that fear, the imbalance of this energy field of the soul that's going through this trauma, whatever it is, if it's alcoholism or drug addiction, they're pulling it and making holes in the aura from us. See, our energy goes out, and they make a hole in the energy field, and then they attached to people, and that's what's sort of a form of possession, to make them continue to do things. Call on the infinite. It's there with us. It says, I'm always there, just that we have to reach out because it's free will, everybody. You choose to ignore the creator, or you choose to reach out to creator, who's really right here with us anyway, but we reach out like that through praise. So, and we just got to do that. The energy will be connected and cleansed around us. Creator said, your thoughts beyond me, no harm will come to you. He's told me this many, many times, Sananda as well. And so when I called on him, I've been rescued from miraculous situations where death was evident, only head-on collisions and everything. So I said, I would say, Yehoshua, Jesus, angels, help me now, my angels. And the angels always say, tell us what you need. Ask us, because that in action with our voice and verbal. Say, angels, be with me today as I walk down the street and I leave my house. Walk with me, protect me, guide, and buffer me from accidents or things happening. Lead me on my way to be home safe again. Until nighttime, ask them to surround your bed with the above and below and all the sides. And usually your two guardians will stand one at the head of the bed, one at the base of the bed. So if you ever woke up and someone's at the end of her bed, it's usually an angel.
Okay, I think you should just repeat. What Mark was just saying is that don't forget to ask for protection when you leave the house.
And drive.
Just do it all the time. Don't think I asked for protection yesterday.
Or 2 days ago.
Activate protection every time you leave, especially in New York City.
Especially in New York.
But people are.
One day I didn't do anything. I got messed up. But we won't talk about that. But
I want to say one more.
Saw the beings.
Yeah,
was like, what?
I know that was a good lesson.
That was my lesson to tell people about this. I
wanted to say that.
Forgot. I'm assuming.
I know you can say. I wanted to say that praise really annoys lower astrals. They cannot stand it.
Demons hate praise.
They head for the hills when they hear praise.
Yeah, they hate they want to insult the infinite creator by torturing and abusing its children, which is all of us and the kids and everything on the planet. So that's their attack on the infinite creator, to insult it, I'm going to torture that kid. I'm going to use that person over there to torture that child.
Yeah.
They've attached to that child, a person in some way, so they abuse the child. And that's the way they attack.
This is coming to a head right now with all the satanic cults and abuse and torture and it's been happening for a long time. But what I see is that it's now being revealed. It's being exposed.
Everything is in the Bible. I know that people think the Bible is some just random stuff. Some of it seems random, and it's stories upon stories that were stories. But they're metaphoric stories as well as truth. And mainly the Bible is a prophetic book, telling you what's happening, what's going to happen soon. And it's all in there. Those will be revealed. That was hidden will be revealed now, and that's in Revelations. And one of the other revelations was everybody on the earth will see everything at once when the Son of Creator comes back. How would that happen in 300,000 years ago, whatever, or 1,000 years ago, or even 800 years ago? People would read that and go, what the heck does that mean? What is the eye in the sky? Oh, that must be Creator. Well, we got the eye in the sky called satellites today, where everybody on the whole planet could see things practically almost at once. But even so, Creator told me, Sananda said, if I was to come back now and soon, because he says he's coming back very soon, he said, if I'm to come back, I can make it at that moment everybody on the whole planet anywhere to see where I am at that moment. If we all looked up, we'd see him. So it doesn't need eye in the sky. But it was saying in the Revelations, when all the people on the earth at the same time know information, that's the satellites, that's the internet, that's TV.
Well, my favorite is the Mark of the Beast.
Yeah, we're the Mark of the Beast.
I think we all know what that is.
But he also said, I will come back in the time when Israel becomes country again. Is that what it was? State or country?
Yeah, in that generation.
In that generation. And that was 1947 and 48. We're the generation, everybody, coming back soon. And anybody who's had near-death experiences out there, and people were told by when they met Christ on the other side, he said, let them know I'm coming back soon. That was years and years and years ago. In the most recent times, people coming back from their near-death experiences with him, he's been saying, let them know I'm coming back very soon. That's a new one. He's told me the same thing. But very soon, so I jokingly with the crew and our friends. So we know when you guys say soon, that means 30, 50 years. So what does it mean if you're saying, he's saying very soon? They said sooner than you think. Yeah. So that to me says 15, 10 years.
Well, that means get your act in order.
Get your act in order. That vision I had has already happened now with the newest technologies of Bluetooth and everything. That was hidden in the ear, and my doorman had a blue, whatever that is. He said, Mark, I was telling him the
earphone.
He says, Mark, I got one right now. I just bought it. I said, what? He says, yeah, look down. He had a bag of the earphone things in it that go right inside here. So it's like, it would look like a hearing aid. And that's what they were saying. And then they said also, people are going to want to put these into the back of their heads right here to listen more clearly. That's what they're talking about, right? Embedding.
And soon it will be implanted. So it's not just external aids, but
eyes.
Implanted. Yeah,
that's right. They showed me that back of the person's ear right in there, like a bump. And I said, oh my God, they're going to try that too.
I mean, we could go into a whole other thing at another time about what's wrong with artificial intelligence being implanted. You don't want to be into transhumanism because now you're just locking yourself into a first level reality
here, and you can't escape. When these are soul traps, we go into that too in our other lessons we've done. Soul traps.
There's a big difference between transhumanism as artificial intelligence and the divine human species that's emerging. One is organic, one is completely disorganic and disharmonic.
It's a terrible thought, really.
Yeah,
we don't understand it.
Like they were saying things about putting a human brain or something into a mechanical body that's going to resemble a human, have all these feelings or whatever it's going to do, and then it would be like RoboCop or something. You can fix the parts, but then it's protected enough that the brain can't die or whatever they were saying. But the brain is there. It's a pineal, the ethereal, and the pineal and the pituitary gland. That is where we're conscious with our total soul self too, as a physical form. It's there in energy, but it's not there as a physical form, but energy where we are accented here.
Well, there's many prophecies that talk about the 3 days of darkness. And what I realized about this is that it's not necessarily physical darkness or anything to do with the sun directly, but it's actually the change of the Earth's magnetic field. And so it's our perceptions of reality are darkened or inhibited. And what happens in that time is that as the Earth's magnetic field weakens and goes through the reversal, the different bodies start disconnecting from each other. And that opens up doorways because it also activates DMT in the pineal gland. And then that allows for the soul to incarnate in a way that hasn't been possible. So this 3 days of darkness is actually a moment of total incarnation if people are ready for it. If we're not ready for it, it means disincarnating. So I see this as the gateway to the new species. We talk about, okay, are we going to go through cataclysmic destruction or are we going to go through an ascension? And
we believe it's both.
Or both, yeah. So there's two different timelines simultaneously.
Well, I think it's the same timeline because it's just nature.
Yeah.
It's just nature. And the thing that we don't understand is why sentient beings would want to continue to reincarnate into a first level reality on any planet in any place. It's just it's limited.
Yeah.
It's unless you're trying to be a bodhisattva, which I am definitely not, and I am totally putting that on the table right now. I have no interest in coming back to first level ever again. I mean, if the Lord asked me to, then I guess I would have to, but that's not my wish.
This brings us down to something I didn't want to talk about, but I feel I have to.
What's that?
And Phyllis and I have talked about this for feels like centuries now, but we never bring it up because we don't want to step on people's little toes and hurt them in the cause a knife in their heart. But we've watched this from the 1970s and what's going on with some people, different souls, different people, some now on the other side. And I've got to see them on the other side too. So the thing is what's going on is there's a lot of friends, people we know, people we don't know, people that used to be on planet Earth are now deceased, who believed that they were actual angels here in a physical incarnation. And that does not happen on the high realms. It is not allowed.
Well, any realm.
On any realm, The angels, they're not an archangel incarnating. It's not done. The fallen angels are here. Yes, there's a fallen beings that came in that they're here. Why? With an angel, and I'm just saying this because I already know the answer because I'm out there with them and I've talked to the angels, I've talked to all these archangels and our friends in the high realms. It is not done. They can come in any form they need because an angel is not like us. They do not look like us. They just take the form to look like us to make us, so we interact with them. But they're an energy, a different type of energy from soul, from the spirit soul. And we are their spirit with creator too, but they have personality as well as a knowledge of what they're to do. All angels on those high realms know exactly what they're doing, what their whole mission is, let's say, and what their work is to be done. But if they need to come in for a rescue for a soul that's drowning in the ocean, or something happens and they call, there's rescues that occur, an angel takes on the form of a human or whatever it needs. It could be a dog, could be a horse, could be a giant a dolphin.
Could be an army.
Could come in looking like an army. They can come in like that too, like a group of angels to protect, which has happened to me as well. So they can do that and come in for a certain amount of time, do what they do, rescue the person, put them on the shore, and the person turns around, there's nobody there. And anybody who was with them will say, there was nobody there, you came up on the shore, suddenly appeared here, who was drowning out in deep water. So this is what they can do. So they do not take forms and bodies. They do not have souls like we do. They do not do that. And do not need to come into a physical form in any way to have a life on this level. That's not what they're about. So people feeling that, I'm sad to tell them, and I wish it was not true for them. But for that, our angels, archangels, anyone, to come into this low density is now connecting with the fallen realm that those others were cast to. They're allowed to come in with the energy with Creator sends them and all that. Archangel Michael appears many times to people. But we got to understand, this is going to hopefully, I hope, wake some people up. It's not your fault. People have been misled by lower beings or fallen angels as well, who pretend to be everybody. They pretend to be everybody from archangels to Jesus to
ascended masters.
God. They'll just do that because they are angels. Even though they're fallen, they still are angels and know how to do that. They can manifest the light like you can't believe. They can. And people, I'm not kidding, they trick people all the time, especially from those channelings we were talking about. You gotta be careful. This is them playing games all the time. Galactic Federation of Light is not a real thing. Doesn't exist on the higher realms of we are, doesn't exist. Galactic Federations of planets, Galactic Confederation of galaxies and planets, those places exist, but a Galactic Federation of Light does not exist. It's man-made, earth-made by these lower astral beings who are pretenders. And I met them and we were with them on the ships a couple of weeks ago. I was out there with them and an Alliance Group friends, they caught these beings playing games. They're earth people, basically. They're earth people. And they caught them and they were around channeling people, trying to do things and manipulate things. So we met them and they asked me to come over and meet with these people. So when I went over, Phyllis was with me as her over part too. And we went there and I was talking with them.
Well, but if you're going to say that, then you need to say that you came in and how tall were you?
8.5 feet tall.
Okay, so as his glorified self, he comes in, we're on one of the ships and they said, we want you to talk to some people from Earth. And then we were teleported down to the level where they were.
Next level down. And they were in a controlled area.
Average Earth height.
They were average Earth people size, 6 feet, 5 or whatever. But they were Earth people. When you see them, they were regular average Earth people. And I knew that these were Earth people who were souls walking the Earth and playing games. They didn't have a belief system. They didn't care. But they were captured in a sense where they get caught to be reprimanded by the other beings. They're like, you can't do this, not right. Well, they wanted me to talk to them. So I was like, okay. I didn't know who these people were when they said we caught these guys. So I got down there. They were contained in an area, let's say 25 feet diameter. And the way we contain with frequency, that these beings are from this lower realm here, lower astral realm, taken to an alliance ship within the etheric realms. So they had to contain them in the frequency they're used to. Me, you, Kiara, all of us, we would not be affected by that frequency. We're involved in it right here now. But these beings have come from that, so they have to be contained in the frequency they play with and understand. So they were contained in that. And all it is a frequency of light and energy that we feel like an electrical pulse go through you. That's all. It's like a gelatin. So they were contained, and I came in. If Phyllis was with me, as her other self, and we're standing there, and the other beings were with us, our friends. And now I'm looking at them, and they're about 6 feet, 5'11", 5'10", 5'7". So I come in, and I'm like looking at them from the other side of the frequency, which you see through. I don't know how to explain this for people. I'm saying to them, why would you want to harass, challenge, or bother the poor innocents, which are our souls and friends down on this planet Earth, the innocents who are just trying to tune up, trying to learn, trying to access information? Why would you want to play and trick them, like calling yourselves other ascended masters, or calling yourself Cthulhu,
or angels,
Michael, Yehoshua? Why would you do that? And they say, here's what they said. They were making fun too. They were razzing me. They were making fun. And they said, yeah, well, it's because they're open. They don't know. So we can come at them. They're open. They've let themselves open up. It's free will. We can come in and go for them. They didn't do any kind of protection. They don't believe in anything like that. And that's what they were razzing me with. So I can't have that kind of stuff. And I was like, well, it's not good karma for you. And they're like, they don't care, right? They don't, who cares? And there was females too. There was a couple of guys, like 4 females, and the rest of about 8 or 9 of them, really. But there was some sitting down in the areas that they allowed them to sit. And they're razzing me with that. And I said, well, let me tell you something.
They were mocking you.
I know who you are. And I know what you and your friends do. And I'm right now in an aspect of me, right now alive on planet Earth. And I'm not veiled. I know who you are. And they went like that, and they backed up. Some of the ones put their heads down like, I don't know. I don't want to be looked at. Because when you say, I know who you are, that terrifies them. Because once you meet them frequency-wise, you know you know exactly who they are. So if they tried to come around you or some friends of yours who said this, you'd recognize them. And that I said, and I'm doing stuff on Earth right now. We're doing stuff, meaning Phil's not. I said, we're doing stuff on Earth right now that has to do with radio frequencies, TV and podcasts and other things. They don't understand it all. They're just playing with everybody, YouTubes and all. And I said, and we're telling people, and we're going to alert them so that they can know about you, because they are being tricked by your friends and people like you. And I said, they're going to know. They're going to know that you fakers are out there and channeling and how to protect themselves. If they're going to try to tune up, protect yourself at all times, test the spirits. That's what they were saying. Nobody checks.
Well, that's why discernment is really important, whether we're talking about ascended masters or ETs or nature beings.
Some ascended beings are not who they are.
Yeah.
Some of them are fakers, and a lot of them are fake, and that's what
I just wanted to reiterate that because Marc is on the planet, because he actually has a body.
Yeah, boots on the ground.
He has boots on the ground in this frequency.
That gave us authority.
That gave him the authority to be able to speak to those beings with authority.
That's what the crew there on that ship wanted. They said, well, you're down there. You're down there. And go talk to them. Go talk to them. And they wanted to see what was going to happen. They were watching this whole thing behind me. They were like hanging out with us. They're like, watch. They said, well, and that scared those beings. It scared them a lot. So when I said, watch out, people are being alerted who are into this new age movement. And we know about how you fake everybody out and try to bring down the wrong information and trick everybody into fear. And we understand, and we're going to tell them.
Well, they may not trick anybody into fear. What they're doing is they're telling them the
lies.
Pretty lies. Yeah. Pretty lies.
Well, they fear them. These are the same crew and people that tell souls and whatever they're hearing, automatic writing, whatever that's going on, if they're not understanding how to cleanse and protect themselves beforehand, that these beings will say, you're all captured. You're not good enough. You're all captured. And you're gonna keep recycling. It's the same people. It's the same ones pretending to be flowery masters with words that go nowhere, or words that say, this is so wonderful. We're going to bring out beautiful ships here. And it's almost like you're not going to get on them. That's what they do. And they pretend, and they don't bring you anything. They never show anything because they don't do that.
They do a variety of things. But the thing that I think is important about this segment, is that it's happening. The channels are being mocked and they don't even know it.
They said that.
And this is what I feel is the most essential part of the message, that you are being mocked if you are not challenging the spirits that you think you are channeling, and you don't know how to do that. You could easily be working with a an entity on the other side that knows how to manipulate the information. Come on, like
there's always a group of them.
Come on, like there's something very high and
oh, they pretend
beautiful.
Really well. Oh, this one's here being, Blessed Mother. This one over here is going to pretend to be Earth. This one over here is pretending to be Mary Magdalene or somebody. And it's amazing what they do.
I think the problem is that people that start to channel, or even people that have been channeling a long time, we won't channel. I would never want to channel. People that have been channeling a long time just assume that every entity that is coming to them, or if there's a particular entity that has been coming to them, that it's of the highest order of magnitude.
And sometimes it's not.
But for instance, and Mark is obviously, has a lot of access. I mean, you have a lot of access to Kiara that a lot of people don't have. But when Seth, I don't know if people remember Jane Roberts. And Seth speaks, but he got, he made some terrible mistakes in some of his material, and Mark went out of body and basically found him and asked him and said, what
1973, I confronted Seth out of body, found him. I said, we sat down, we were sitting in chairs talking to each other, just like a little interview. I said, so Seth, and he said, yes, I said, you're Jane Roberts' higher self. And he goes, yes. I said, well, how come you're promoting falsehoods? And then he said, well, that's the things I understand where I am from. And I said, you're lying about Yehoshua Christ. You do not bring down false information like that that's printed in a book for the world to see. And he said, well, this is what I kind of understood, whatever he was being taught, where he was laying there or whatever it was in that area of the vibration. He was not a higher self from a higher realm. He was a higher self in the fourth, third. He was, and this has been happening. This happens. So when I confronted him, I said that, and I said, look, you got to be careful when you start sending lies or promoting a lie. The others come in. The others come in to trick more because you promoted a lie. And you promoted it through Jane, through her husband typing or putting it out there. And he said, he was almost ashamed. He was like going, I didn't know I was actually, this is what he had been believed or what he had been seeing.
I think what the problem is with a lot of the spiritual community is that, there's been so much information and talk about higher planes of consciousness and enlightened states and so on. But we're not really talking about emotional maturity or psychological maturity. So in the absence of that, there can be all kinds of projections, all kinds of details, all kinds of...
It's basically lack of information. It's lack of... he may have been saying something that he believed to be true, even though he was coming from possibly, there's a lot. See, this is the problem this is what I learned in this lifetime, thanks to Mark. It's that just because you're on a higher frequency a higher frequency, you're coming in from a higher frequency, doesn't mean you know everything. And you might be giving information to somebody that's in a very low frequency, like this first level that we're on, and still that information is only as good as what you know, in wherever you're coming from, whoever that entity is, or that person, or that ascended master. All ascended masters are not equal. Okay, just because you're ascended doesn't mean, as Mark has been able to meet most ascended masters, the real ones, but there's some that he hasn't because they're not where you would think they would be.
I know Cthulhu personally and met him physically. So the thing is,
we're just trying to explain deception. And that's why we feel that discernment is really just absolutely essential at this moment in your incarnation.
What's important on the other side when people leave this planet, if you're out of body or if you're leaving the planet for good because you passed on, you get to the other side, you start asking questions. Don't just be taken anywhere because you're going to be taken to a certain place by your angel or by Christ or something. They're going to take you to a place. But start asking questions. Your family and friends are going to meet you. Your pets are going to meet you first, it seems like all the time. But they're going to meet you. And they're going to want to take you to the things that they've explored and found beautiful. It's going to be very pleasant. It's going to be heaven realms. It's beautiful. You can be usurped into that heaven realm easily with the love and the joy and the beauty and forget everything you thought you were going to want to do. So you have to remember to remind yourself, don't forget to ask some questions to some people because no one's going to walk up to you, everybody. Not going to walk up to you and say, hey, do you want to know about Ashtar and the commands over there? Or, hey, do you want to learn about something over here that you never heard of before? They don't do that because it's free will. So they wait for the souls to ask questions. So they say, you know, I heard about something, and if an angel's standing nearby, they will listen to the interview. Or they'll say, you might say, how can I find out about this information of these celestial realm teachings or massive starships, whatever. If you say that to some angel, they'll take you and tell you where it's going to be found, or they'll guide you and teleport you there with them. This is what's done on the other side. If you don't know Yehoshua is who he is, the creator, as well as the son creator, the threefold creator. If you don't know it, he's not going to tell you. If you think he's a great master of a blue-green ray or a purple ray, he's not going to tell you. He'll greet you, and you'll think, oh, here's the ascended master Yehoshua, Jesus Christ, with the blue-green ray or whatever. And he's not going to say anything. He's going to greet you as a child who would love you. Whoa, this is the thing I was noticing and we were learning about and seeing on the other side how this works. You have to ask questions. If you don't ask, he won't tell you, or the other beings as well as angels. If you don't ask, they can't tell you.
Well,
you have to ask.
Okay, there's another aspect to this. I just want to say, when we transition, we will go to the vibration where we are most comfortable. And if people are thinking exactly the way we're thinking, we will all be in that heaven together.
Yep.
So that's the heaven that we'll migrate to. So if it lacks knowledge, it's okay because you're in heaven. You're in heaven with the people that lack that particular knowledge. If you get to, you know, me, I'm always curious and I ask a lot of questions. And I think we should all be asking questions all the time. I think that
curious souls get further.
You just have to ask all the time. You know, is this true? Is Mark crazy? Is he, you know, wrong? Is, you know, go out to, you know, ask the question of your, you know, praise Creator, and then ask the question. You know, just keep querying. But that goes to that is also applied to when you transition. So somebody's beautiful heaven would probably be my hell, because
somebody else's heaven would be some people.
I want to go here.
Right.
That's where I want to go. I want to go to a 12th dimensional Arcvana and, you know, play there. That's my heaven.
Now remember, these heaven realms appear around each planet.
But it might be somebody else's hell.
So a Mars planet will have its own realms that represent the Mars realms. Our Earth represents these other realms that we are here. So our heaven on Earth in one way here on Earth would not be exactly the same one on Mars, but connection of frequencies will make us similar. So all the religions on the planet, these different religions, have their own setups on the other side. You get to those realms. If you're Buddhist or whatever, you'll get to those realms where they are. And you don't go further, and you might come back and reincarnate. But I visited the different places and I saw where they're located. So we got to see, they're located in these different realms. Let's see here. They're located within some of these realms here. They're not really located all the way up onto the seventh, but there are some frequencies there where the Buddha is, the Buddhas, the ones that were. Still, they don't understand the total who creator is. So again, they don't get past the 7 planes without certain knowledge. And that's what souls don't understand on these densities here. They think that's it, but it's not. There's more. And to bypass all these different levels, you have to understand who the infinite creator is and how it works. It's not about religions. So if we're stuck in a dogma or any kind of religion dogma, it's going to keep the soul confused and coming back around. So they understand it's about forgiveness. It's about oneness, loving the creator, understanding that's our parent, that's our creator. And then getting past those levels was understanding, holy smoke, there is nothing else. There is no other fake. There is no other gods. There's only this one. There's no these other false gods. These are actual entities that take on the positions of playing the gods when they come into those low realms.
Yeah, they're all relative planes to each other.
Yeah, they are. So all the Egyptian gods are there. If you like Egyptian gods, they're there, but they're not good. They're not all good beings. They're playful entities playing the game. Now, when I went to confront a few of those in the early 70s, they run away from you when you confront who you're coming in to see who they are. And when they see that your understanding and love of Creator is more with Yehoshua and everything, the trifold Creator, the threefold, whoa, did they run from you? They just take off. So I checked out the areas and went away and went to the other realms. And then you see there's other realms where people have no belief systems, but they're not on high realms at all. They're just stuck in an area within the second to third area. That's why I want people to understand they're here and they're right around in here. Not exactly into the third level yet. They're in a slower heaven realm where they meet their friends and family, but that's all it is. It's just a nice place. It's nothing more because they have no belief system. And if they're rescued by their guardians, they try to communicate with the soul all the time. But if they don't believe in anything, the guardians can't help them too much. So sometimes they're rescued a little bit by friendly people, helping them. But that's why we want people to understand. Start praising Creator, the infinite Creator.
So Mark, is that chart you have been displaying, is that available on your website?
No. These are workshops.
At workshops, okay. But this is just snippets. It's not even the full thing. When you're at the workshop, I go deeper. These are just visuals. We try to help people understand how to think of it for us. There's many dimensional spaces here within us, frequencies right here that are the ethereal levels. So if a person wants to come back from Earth, life dies and passes on to the other side, you say, I want to go be an Etherian. I don't want to come back to Earth for another life if I don't need it. I like to go to the etheric realms where you're still physical, not dense as heavy. Dense, I say heavy. Weight is different. Weight. So you have a body on that side, a physical type body that's similar with organs, etc. You can eat and all that and sleep and have a baby if you want. It's on the other side. But then when you get to the higher ethereal range, there's no more needing of food. There's no more children. There's no more of that. It's more, you're moving up to the higher over parts area, your higher self areas. So then the organs that you don't need are not there anymore. Those organs that are physical body organs disappear. You have different organs like a lung effect.
But you still feel, you still.
Oh, you feel exactly like you feel in a physical body, but more intense.
Well, it's interesting that a lot of people, when they leave the physical body at death, they don't even know that they have died because that world is so close. The senses work the same way, except it's a different body. It's a subtle body. It's a subtler dimension.
Yes, it's funny. I'm going to say something funny, and I know people start laughing on the other side over there, watching YouTube. But there are times when you get to the other side, and the people have said, when you're working with them, and they said, well, I got to find a bathroom. Now, remember, they're on the other side. They're not physical people here anymore. But that experience is still there on the other side as they get there the first time when they're getting over. So it's still there acclimating for them. So, there's bathrooms for people. There's that there because they think this is how it's supposed to feel. Even though the food they're eating is thought form, it comes here and dissipates here. So they don't understand it yet until they acclimate to it. Then they start, people watching it. They all know. Everybody knows.
And then they're trying to relate to people that that they've known, and they just
And you'll see on the higher realms, there's no bathroom.
No. I think what Kiara is saying is that they think they're still alive. So they think that the other people can hear them. Is that what you mean, Kiara?
Yes.
Yeah. And they'll be talking and not know about telepathy totally until it starts happening.
No.
So how long do you think it takes for people to pass through this first stage after they die? So
depends on the person.
Okay, usually we're going Earth Day term. We'll go in our Earth Day term. For a person that might be an atheist, that takes sometimes a little more than almost a week of Earth time if they start acclimating and realizing. Because some people die, get put in a coffin and buried, and the soul is laying in there asleep, just laying there. It's just laying in there. And the angels have told me, like, we're waiting. They just will open their eyes, which is their astral eyes. But they just think that there's nothing beyond their death. That's it. Not beyond death. So then when they slowly wake up, sometimes their angels can actually talk. So they hear things. So they think, what was that? Then they acclimate them. So, but average people, 3 days, they move through, they get to the realm. Now, if they were killed in a traumatic accident, murdered traumatically, where trauma's in there, decapitations, cutting of body parts, whatever. They will beyond that area we were showing before. Oops. The second level higher realm towards the third, right here. It's a frequency there with this hospital zones and no evil there. Just still playful beings sometimes, but you can get rid of.
How long do you think it takes for them to acclimate?
They could be in a hospital zone, maybe almost a week, depending on how much trauma they had and what they understand. Because then they're acclimated by the family who's on the other side. Right. They'll come visit and they say, right. Grandma, that's grandma at 30 years old. Oh, that's my grandmother. Oh, right. She's passed on. Sometimes they're so happy, but then they realize, wait a minute, she can't be here. Then they talk with them. Then the angels, with nurses, they look like nurses, and doctors will talk with them and say, well, look, this has happened, but you're okay, and here you are here. And But meanwhile, in time-lapse ways that they work with the angels, a person might be physically being buried or cremated, right, on the frequency. If they're within the acclimation time of an Earth week on the other side, people bury them soon. Guess what? No time for them. They jump, the angels take them right back to where the funeral is or their wake, and they can be there at that same time listening in and hearing people talk about them and nudging people, or people feel a presence nearby or take a photograph. There's an energy. Nobody loses anything. There's always a way that they always works with the soul. There's never a time. In other words, time doesn't exist the same way. So angels take us to different things. In fact, they'll take you to visit family members as you died. And they'll say, do you have last words or things you want to say to your family and friends? And most moms and dads are saying, well, I want to take me to my children. And that happened with me and my brother, with our mother, and my father too. My father told me. But she appeared at 3 o'clock in the morning to not only Phyllis, to me and my brother, and we're all in different areas. I was upstate in all different places, but she appeared at 3 o'clock in the morning, each one of us. And that's how the angels worked it. She passed off. My mom definitely died for sure. They thought she died at 4 a.m. But I told my brother, I said, no, she died at 3. And he said, yeah, she came to me at 3 o'clock. I said, yeah, me too. Wow. So Phyllis, when I talked to her that day in the morning, she said, yeah, your mom came at 3 o'clock to say bye. You didn't see her physically. You felt the presence and the angel. Sometimes you feel a presence, sometimes you see a presence. But boy, when the angel came behind me, it was right there. And my mother's voice saying, thank you, all these things they say, they tell it to you. So this is what they're giving the gift of. Is there some last place you want to go?
Okay, but now the question that Kiara asked is, okay, so those are regular average people transitioning.
Yeah.
How about, let's say, a religious person transitioning? How long does it take for them? Somebody that has like a strong religious belief.
Okay, if they have a strong, usually, I'll tell you the Christian beliefs, because they, Blessed Mary or Yehoshua, Jesus will promises to come to them. And he does, because my mother was praying a rosary, an invisible rosary, on her hand in her hospital while Mary was at the end of the bed. And I saw Mary there, and my mother's talking. So I said to my mother, Mary's there. And she goes, okay. And she just kept praying an invisible rosary, because Mary will do that. But she also promises they'll come to you at the time of your death when you're dying. So my mother knew her time was up. She died that morning in the a.m. of 3 a.m. So Jesus will always promises to show up too. Blessed Mother and Jesus, archangels, Michael will show up too. So they will take you on the moment of death. They will be there when you're awake in your bed that you died in, and they'll pull and sit you up. Usually that's how they do it. Or you'll get up and stand there, and your guardians will be there. Sometimes past family members will be there, grandma, mom, or dad, brothers, sisters, cousins, in all younger form. They'll all look like they're in their late 20s or 30. And then they take you to the other side into the heaven realm. Yehoshua is the golden boat that people want to imagine. Takes you to the zone, first heaven realm, bypassing all the bad stuff going on.
So that's level 3 then in your system.
And then you progress to levels 4th heaven, and then we have the highest astral plane is the 4th plane. Then the 5th plane, mental causal plane, also mental celestial plane. That was where the last place on a plane that a soul can come back to reincarnate if it chooses to. Even if it doesn't have to reincarnate again, it can choose one last time if it wants to make a mission or something.
So basically what you're saying is like if somebody has a religious belief, they sort of accelerate the process of transition.
Yeah, they can, right? They can.
I mean, not Satanists.
No. Well, they're meant by something else, and that shocks them. They think they're going to
generally for most people then by the end of the week, they'll be past the second level and on to the third, fourth, fifth.
Right. Thanks for saying that, because if somebody was really evil and bad and just murdered people, or if they haven't repented, you see, when sometimes they're in jail and they repent, even though they're on death row, and they've repented and they say, I've given myself to God and Christ again, that has been nullified. That has been stopped, right? That's what we say, right? But when they get to the other side and they're out of body, they go back, left their body, they still have to go through that second realm of knowing what they did to people, or what they, from their perspective. So even the person or soul that gave the orders for another soul to kill somebody goes through that experience that they told another soul to do. So now they're seeing not only from the soul that they told to go kill a person with, but the person that was being killed, they're seeing from two perspectives that way too, because they had to learn what they just gave the other order for that soul to do. We didn't want to kill anybody, but he's following orders, or she, and they got to go assassinate somebody. Now that's another thing. This is how they do not escape. No one escapes anything from that side. You will see everything you've done, said, or hurt another, or an animal, or a child. You will see it from all the perspectives that soul experiences it from. So the soul never escapes it. Whoever caused the killing or said go kill them or whatever never escapes it.
But the people in these audiences are probably
good people.
Not like that.
But like it's satanic stuff or evil, even so they've repented. They still repented and gave themselves back. Say, forgive me, I was really an idiot, or I never meant to, oh my gosh, I was taken over. I was possessed. I was the one. Yeah, they probably were. But still they did it. Their body here did it. They have to go through that cleanse, which is that second realm where they get seen what they did. Then they go through what they call, people want to think it's hell, but it's not. It's like a burning energy, is a heat energy that comes through. Sometimes souls will still go through it as they pass through to that third plane, a little bit of the heat realm. It feels like a heat that's overabundant.
It's a purifying, cleansing kind of
cleansing heat. Yeah. It's a Holy Spirit heat. It's not burning to kill you, melt you heat. But that other heat that these other beings have experienced when they've been very evil is on a heat that's similar sort, but almost self-punishing heat. The over part puts them through that. The over part says, you think you've gotten away with this? You're not going to get away with it. So what's your most biggest fear, little earth person that I was? Oh, fear of hell. Okay, I'm going to put you through a heat experience that's going to scare the hell out of you. That's what's going to do. So they put that through. It's always been put through themselves. And these beings will play along with it and let it be done, whatever they do. And then till that soul calls out and says, help me in some way, or calls out for Creator's help. But really repents in their heart, because even Sananda has told me, we know the heart of each soul. We know the soul's truth. So when they're saying, help me, but they're not meaning it, we know. But when they really call out with the heart and the whole soul calling out, I am so sorry, whatever they do, then Creator will send either our angels to come, Yehoshua will show up, Mariam comes up to help. There's the miraculous prayer of Blessed Mother that rescues souls, and that's the Holy Rose.
So when people experience the life review, is that the entire part? So the whole journey through the second level into the third level could be the life review.
The life review occurs before that real punishment occurs. That whatever punishment occurs. The life review seems to happen sometimes on the verge of death, when I've been actually seeing those things when I was in imminent danger where I was going to probably die. My life review went right in front of me. But then you get to the other side. That's your life past before you review. You see all the things you did goes by. All the things that were bad were not as bad. If they weren't evil, they weren't showing up. If you murdered people, that would show up. But most of the things were good things you did or how you helped. When you get to the other side, the angel or your own self, in this looks like a glowing light of energy anyway, you might think is an angel or You might even think it's Christ. Sometimes it is Christ. And a lot of times it is Christ coming to you. But they will say, who have you helped and how have you loved? And you are going to see things go by and actually see it in a vision. And you're going to see when you were bad and when you had a chance to help somebody. And that's why those metaphors that Yehoshua spoke about when he was walking the planet was, and the Old Testament too. When you have seen me naked and in need, and you helped me, and you gave me alms, or when you walked by that person who was reaching out, and we just ignored them.
Right.
You will see those moments, and sometimes I've had it happen to me in 1971. I was in this new city for our first time to visit some friends here. And I saw a woman asking for help in the middle of the sidewalk. And I saw her and I vibed. I said, So I went over to her, and people were walking around me as if she stunk. I don't know. I didn't smell anything. I smelled nice flowers or something. But they're walking around me like, ew, how can you go? Ew. I'm doing that. And I was like, what the hell? So I said to her, I closed up to her. I went, and she was staring at me like this. I said, whatever's in my pocket is yours. And I didn't have a lot of money because I was 19. So I put my hand in my pocket at that time, in 1971. I pulled out $3, and to me, that was a lot of money. So I said, I got this. Here, take this. And she goes, thank you so much. God bless you, right? I said, well, God bless you. And I hugged her. Meanwhile, people are walking around again. How would you do that? She's dirty. You can see it in the business suits, everything. And I hugged her. I said, no matter what they think or say, you're my mother, you're my brother, you're my father, you're my sister, you're part of me, and I love you. And she held me. She held me and she said, thank you. That's what she said. And she stood back. She had the money in her little wallet thing or whatever she had in her. And my friends were waiting for me at a pole to walk across the street, looking at me like, what are you doing? Like, what? And I walked back to them like, I said, that wasn't a human. That was an angel in disguise. They said, nah. And we took no one anywhere. She was gone. The second I walked over, I turned around, she's gone. There's nobody there. We even walked over to the sidewalk to see if she went a different way. There was nobody. She was kind of heavy set and full of clothing, lots of stuff on her. And I said, that wasn't a human, because she smelled like flowers to me. And they said, Mark, she smelled. I said, not to me. So that was me tuning in. And that's what Jesus meant. You might be, not just Jesus, let's say the Old Testament too. And when they said, you might be a knock at the door, and it might be a stranger, but it might be an angel in disguise. Be gentle to them, talk to them, offer them something to eat, bring them in. That's what they meant in those days. The angels can come through in those little missions to test people. And she was testing people. I knew it. They walked around her, but I vibed her. I had a vibe about her. Maybe it was my own guardian saying, go over there for a moment.
Right.
And I had to go close to smell the flowers. I was like, there's no flowers here. But then I intuited that, and I talked to her, and that's what I said. So this can happen. Never happened like that again to me, but happened in little different ways, but not like that. Not like that.
Well, there's an old story about these monks in a monastery somewhere, and this old beggar comes up to them and says, one of you is the Christ. And then he disappears. And so they're left completely mind blown. And so this, so they're wondering, okay, maybe this brother cleaning up the potatoes is him. Maybe that gardener fellow over there is Christ. Maybe someone, is doing the most menial tasks. And so all the bickering and back talk started to fade away. And suddenly everyone started to honor each other. And if we could do that for each other, no matter who we are, no matter who we appear to be, across the planet, that would change everything.
That's what they mean. Always be loving and caring.
Yeah.
And if you don't have money to give to the beggar who's walking by you in the subway here in New York, they just come by. Sometimes you don't have money or change on you, and sometimes we do. Whenever we do, we try to give them something.
Yeah.
And at least when they go by, bless them, ask blessings for them, and just tell them. And whenever sometimes we give money to a woman who's need, I'll talk with her for a few seconds if I can. and I give her the money and try to give them $1 or more if I have it. And they always say, "God bless you, thank you so much, thank you," and I'll bless them back. Almost every time, right? Even when you Phyllis is handing money to people, they'll say, "God, God bless you." They don't have to say that, but they do. And it's just that they're feeling something. And that's the one moment we're touching them. For a moment, that money is everything they got right now.
And it comes around, that's the loop.
Yeah.
So
like,
as we give, so we receive.
I think actually in that case, when you look at people in the eye, I think that's extremely important.
That's what
when you acknowledge somebody that's in a bad situation, that means that they exist, that
exactly, you're connecting.
You're looking at them like, like you're my brother, you're my sister.
One time I gave to this guy on the street a couple of weeks ago. He had no shoes. It was raining. It was cold, and he was under an awning. Yeah, but he was going, "Is there anybody? I just need something to eat." He was just saying that, and I had nothing on me to give him, but I had some cash. So I went over to him. And, people just put things in the bowl or whatever they have, a jar. But I didn't do that. I stood over him and I bent down and I held the money. I rolled it all up because it was windy so he could take it in his fingers. And I waited till he looked up. And he was waiting like this, right? And he looked up. And he looked at me. And then I went, "This is for you. And I love you."
Beautiful.
I just love them.
Yeah.
They don't know, they're innocent and they don't understand what they've done and they've been put through this. And they just need to know someone cares.
Yeah.
And they've lost all hope. These are older people. They're not like 20 years old. These guys are in their 50s and 60s and they're at the end. They're like messed up. And you just want to hold them, but you can't. Sometimes you can't, but they're on the ground.
It's all there to test our compassion, isn't it?
That's it. Tolerance and passion. Yeah. Tolerance is important. On the other side, they don't understand it. People here, they have a very high level of intolerance, especially for gay people or anybody else, what they're calling everything. Got to be careful. Creator didn't, everybody's got a purpose and everybody's come in. I like to tell the story, but I don't know that, I hate to say it, but guys, I don't know the biblical text that it goes with, like chapter this, verse, whatever. But everybody might remember this story. I don't know if I guess I'll tell it anyway because it's important. There's a part where Yehoshua is walking through the town. The apostles are with him too. People are surrounding Yehoshua, asking for healing, whatever they're doing. They're gathering around him. And in the crowd in the distance, coming towards him, is a centurion Roman. And he is coming towards him. His real name is Cornelius. But you don't find that in the ancient, too much in the Bible today, but it's probably in the ancient original around Aramaic text. His name was Cornelius, and he's coming towards Yehoshua, and he's saying to him, and everybody who's Christians or Catholics will recognize the words I'm saying before they take the Holy Eucharist on their tongue, not in their hand, on your tongue, because you change it with frequency when you're holding it in your hands after you've touched people's hands and Bibles and pews, just to let you know. So the priest will put it on your tongue, and you'll say before that, you say, "Bless me, for I am not worthy for you to come under my roof, but speak the words, my soul shall be cleansed or healed." Then the priest puts the Eucharist on the person's tongue. Cornelius comes to Jesus, Yehoshua, says, "Forgive me." He's a believer, but he's a centurion, so he's also, in their mind, a pagan. He says, "Forgive me. I am not worthy for you to come under my roof," meaning his home, to get into my home. "But speak the word, and my pains shall be healed."
Your servant.
My servant.
Right.
Now, the word in ancient Aramaic and Greek, pays, P-A-I-S, means my lover, my beloved, my everything, my husband, my wife. It means that. And Yehoshua knows what it means because he was Aramaic and Hebrew and everything. So he understood what this soldier was telling him. My servant is my slave. The Romans had slaves that took care of the household. If he was a gay Roman, he would pick a slave that he was trying to rescue or he knew about and maybe had a connection to, and he was also gay. So they would have a connection. They do that in those ancient times. So they would rescue the slave from the slave sale and bring him in and became his head of the household after he got to know them. They get to know them. So he had other people they rescued, right? But this one was gay. This other slave was gay. So he rescued him, became very familiar with him for years. He was his household servant who was the head of the household, meaning he's in charge of the others. Now, he was his pays. He said that to Yehoshua, my servant, my slave, my pays. Jesus understood at that moment, this soldier, this centurion's lover was his slave, was his pays. He considered him his spouse. Yehoshua said, because of your faith, your pays is healed. That tells me right there, everybody listening, Yehoshua's creator has nothing against anybody. When he told me, and now when I'm out with him and see him out about it on the high realms of the ships, when I asked him about this, because I had many friends in the early 70s and late 70s who were friends and had these experiences, and they were saying, my love for Christ is deep. I am gay. I'm a lesbian. I am gay. And I want to know I'm not condemned. I said, no, you're not condemned. The only thing Creator told me, and Yehoshua told me, Sananda said, what Creator was against was promiscuity, that which was jumping from body to body to body, frequencies, being interchanged and exchanged with the frequency when the bodies come together with the chakras. We're not being connected properly without pure love, without a love for that soul. Not just promiscuity guys going bed to bed, person to person. And that's what Jesus said about prostitution. He knew that was what was damaging to the children, to the souls who were selling themselves, not just women, men too, and they were selling themselves for whatever it was they needed or money. But he was saying that that's what it was. It was not the love. There was nothing there. It was just a taking of energy and exchanging of energy. It was taken by the lower beings who were surrounding that, called succubi. Those beings take that energy, that is sexual energy being pulled from the auric energy field. So when people were together through that kind of a experience of prostitution or just sleeping with each other, 1960s, whatever it was.
Without love.
Without love, without connection. And you talk to a person, because I used to ask people that. I said, what did you feel? Tell me the truth when you had that one night experience with somebody that you didn't really know. They said it was as if I had to take a shower and I felt drained. I said, because you were drained, not by the soul, but by the things that surround you when they come for that. They take that energy from both people.
Do you think if there's an, I mean,
I don't want to go
really
into this, but I know I just felt to tell people this because time is rough. There's intolerance for people and they don't understand what they're talking about. Everybody does not know. And it's like they start condemning and judging everybody. And he doesn't do that. He judges us on how we judge others. Remember that? Judge not, lest thou be judged by the same judgment you put on others.
Right.
That's what happens. And we will be shown that. So be careful what you're judging everybody. Everybody has their life pattern. They've come in for something that's showing whatever they're feeling. And yes, these things that happen to people who are gay or trans and everything are things that happen before they're born. It's inside the brain as well. It's not that they're just one day choosing to be this other sex or choosing to be gay. It happens within. Some people are bisexual, yes, and they do have both tendencies. But most of the time when I talk to my people I've known who are bisexual, I ask them, what is your main focus? Are you bisexual tending toward gay or are you bisexual tending toward straight? And they would always give me an answer. I'm bisexual, but I'm tending toward straight. Or I'm bisexual and I tend towards gay. So that just gives us an idea. Souls are interchangeable. We just are many things on the higher realms too. But it's always love that's the purest in there. So if a soul is in love with another, no matter what they are, who they are,
we're just saying you're not condemned.
It's pure. It's just willy-nilly jumping with each other for free, this and this, that causes the diseases. And that's what Yehoshua told me too. In the ancient times, that's what they were trying to create tribes. So they would have multiple wives, but it was to create a tribe, to get a family and going, because lives were young, dying soon.
Going too long here?
Oh, Phyllis is asking if we're going too long.
Yeah, I think we've been going about an hour and a half. I mean, 2.5 hours. Oh, okay.
Oh my God.
So, well, that's a good place to end. But would you like to share anything about how people can reach you, websites and
Sure.
so on?
I guess our ending would be then to finish what I just said was, judge not lest they be judged. Watch out what you're saying, condemning. Watch out what you're making fun of. Watch out.
Yeah.
and let them be. Let everybody be if that's what they feel, if that's what they're comfortable with, let them be. But I know it's hard to say. So Yehoshua was basically saying, don't judge, watch out. So we gotta give our love to people, just send love to them. If we feel they're confused, I think we feel they're confused because being intuitive or something. We feel, oh, they're doing this. Because I've had people ask me, Mark, back in 1970, am I really transsexual? Am I really a lesbian or am I gay? Or am I trans? Because they were having tendencies because it was happening in the older day. And I could look at their energy field and see their energy and soul. And I said, no, you're actually a gay. And here's why. This happened. You have a female many, many lifetimes before, many times coming in. And so you have a feminine tendencies now. You're not a feminine soul in there right now, but you're projecting male, but you have feminine tendencies. Then there were some that I saw that have female soul actually in a male. And those are the ones who are trans. And that's why what happens too is more than just Earth people can see. There's so much going on. And when I actually knew somebody who was trying to transition to be a male from a female. And when I saw the energy, I saw a female. So I actually asked her as a he, I said, are you sure about what you're feeling? And at the time he got mad at me and said, well, I know you're a psychic and all that. I said, yeah, but I have a tendency to see some things. So I'm just wondering, are you sure about what you're feeling? And you know what? About a year went by and she came over to me. She says, Mark, when I met you, I was mad that you said that to me because I was feeling all these feelings. But you know what? I couldn't feel, I was 6 months later, 6 months, I knew you were right. I was gay. I was lesbian. So this happens and this confusion can occur. So don't teach children at age 5 and whatever age they're trying to do and try to transition them. The child knows what they feel inside and they will go through things. They might play with being a boy or play with being a girl from time to time, but don't say, oh, that's the reason why. By the time they're 12 or 15 or 16, they kind of know who they are. But children do feel these tendencies and test it.
Yeah,
so
and ultimately it's like we forget who we are as humans.
And they're remembering something from the past too, a feeling where they were a boy or a girl strongly, and they have tomboy tendencies or effeminate tendencies, but it doesn't mean that's what they are. So they play with dolls.
Well, that's just another one of the delusions of this planet at this time. Is just to confuse. So we're dealing with that.
I was told to speak this because I feel there's a lot of people that have known somebody.
Somebody needs to hear it.
And I told it to people on the phone with them, and I told them, they said, oh, you got to tell people this. So I feel that was a moment that they wanted us to take because we were talking about judging and all that. So for us, I guess everybody to understand, start thinking to the highest levels, highest creation levels of love and light with the infinite creator, our mother, father, beloved father, mother, creator. And it's really an androgynous being of energy of everything, but it is our father, mother, in that essence of powers and energies come through these levels. So in that way, we think of it as our beloved creator, our mother, father, father, mother. So, and Yehoshua is the creator, as Sananda is a reflection of the infinite creator coming to all of us as a personal experience for us to recognize and talk with on the high realms. He's told me this many times. I am the creator, but I'm here as the personal representative of my infinite self to you to deal with and be with and experience and be personal with. That's who he is. And he came in to do many things on the planet Earth, but and the Holy Spirit energy is that also him. On 3 personality levels, he's the same being, but now he comes through with the power and the frequency of the Shekinah glory energy onto our physical densities as the Holy Spirit, where miraculous miracles occur instantly. So we have to think and praise on the threefold creator. That's how I do it. Thank you, Mother, Father, Creator. Thank you, Yehoshua Standard. And I say thank you, Holy Spirit, for everything you do, because all 3 come through this level to work with us. But if we don't recognize it, sometimes it doesn't happen the way we expect. So creators told me to tell the people this now, to start working on that. And he also told us to, when you're blessing people or blessing animals or your food, don't just bless like this, like bless like that. Bless like this now, he said, because in the ancient times when Yehoshua walked the planet Earth, with your right hand, if the energy comes through and comes out the right hand, 3 fingers together like a little clover, like that. So you're blessing your food. blessing your food and whatever way we want. There's many blessings.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
Cool.
he said when he was walking planet Earth and he would bless the people, he would do that or he would do that. He sometimes put his thumb under the two fingers because the thumb of Yehoshua on the physical the frequency dimension of the physical level is so powerful that in his time it would have sent boom, energy like bing. So he would put his thumb here and do that and bless the people, bless them like this. And he told me that's 1,000 years ago. Now the energy is changing more with what's happening to our solar system and planet over the last 30 some odd years, or 50, actually hundreds of years, but it's happening faster. So he says, teach them to use this now. This energy now is very powerful and the souls can handle it because they're all upgraded, let's say frequency-wise or understanding it. So you're gonna bless your picture of your photograph of your dog or your child. Bless your car with the symbol of Yahweh as we have it here. It looks like this. And either way.
Oh, all right.
Before, circle and the cross.
Well, before we leave, if somebody goes to the intergalacticmission.com and they go to the Omniversal Symbols page, you'll see a few symbols you can play with that technique.
Great.
Yeah, and you can draw them in either direction.
Okay. And that's your website, omniversalmission.com?
No, intergalacticmission.com.
Intergalacticmission.com.
On the side, on the left side of the page will be all the categories. You'll see Q&A, and you'll see omniversal symbols, and other information.
And also
photographs, UFOs.
If it's easier to remember, etuniversalzone.com is where we're holding all of our the archives of our shows.
Whatever podcast, radio interview, like this show.
This will go in there under
the newest ones are top of the list, newest and latest. And then they can reach us at the emails there on those links.
And it's just Marc
Brinkerhoff at yahoo.com. Yeah.
Okay, good. Well, this has been wonderful. Yeah. Thank you for taking this time, both of you, to interact and share all this amazing information.
Thanks.
So I'm delighted to stay in touch. And,
always. Yes, always.
So, yeah.
You're our brother, man.
Exactly.
See you on the ships.
Yeah.
See you on the ships. Yes.
We're here for you whenever you need us, even if you're in a bind and you say, this guy just canceled or this one just did it. We're here. You can always call.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. We love you.
Okay. Love you guys.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, Kiara. Thank you. Blessing to be with you.
Okay.
Blessing.
How do we?
Bye.
I guess we shut down.
I don't know how to do it.